Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Light the Fuse here at hashtag HMG. If you don't know who I am the reporter, the people, the man with the plan, Big Ray, here to stay to talk some lucha libre, which is your Spanish lesson for wrestling today. And ladies and gentlemen, I am not alone. Oh, no. I am with a very, very sexy, incredibly sexy. I mean, his arm is wrapped up and stuff, as you can see there, but even the wrap around his arm is sexy. The glasses over his fucking hat are sexy. Is he adjust them? Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only. We call him Sucio. Ooh, looking like Macho Man. Yeah, anyway. Chris Silvio. Chris. What's popping, dude? What's going on, brother?
What's popping? Well, in particular, my bicep has popped. And I have a 95% tear in my right bicep. Can you believe that shit? What? And I've still been working out on the damn thing. I got my MRI a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Beforehand, the doc's like, hey, look, bro, it looks like a partial tear because you're getting around fine. You know, it hurts, but it's not debilitating. It's not completely black and blue. So I think you'll be okay. No surgery. I'm like, hell yeah, doc. Checks out my MRI. He shows me a picture of this gigantic hole in my bicep. He's like, well, Chris, you've torn your bicep. I said, well, how much? He said, all of it.
Wow.
So so that, and it literally popped when it happened. So that's what's popping. I'm going to get this sucker repaired hopefully in the next week or two. Then I can get back to lifting heavy, kicking asses, man.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about that a little more because I have some freaking questions for you, my friend. But listen, before we even do that,
oh boy,
we are joined. You're damn right. We are joined. The vet. He's a Rip Rogers guy.
Oh boy.
The vet. Vet. Rip Rogers guy. It is the 5-time AEW Basketball League 3-on-3 champion. My fucking green screen just fell behind me. All good. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, he's a Rip Rogers guy. The vet, Jamie Williams. God damn it. You know I'm going to play your fucking theme song, Chief. Can you talk like fix this gimmick behind me?
Yeah, sure. So I'm just here for the superstar. That's why I'm here. Big fan. Question for you. How can you have a hole and such peaks at the same time? That's incongruous, Mr. Silvio.
I don't know that word.
It's a tough job, my friend, the vet, but someone's got to do it. You want to know how I knew I was hurt? Because I wasn't going to go to the doctor. So I heard it training one night doing an over-the-shoulder lift and the pops and everything, and I kept working out. I got home that night and noticed like my arm was oddly swollen, went to bed, woke up the next morning, my hand looked like, you remember like when Howie Mandel used to do the gimmick with the glove?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, that looks weird. And I flexed in the mirror and I did a double bicep. My left side, my peak was where it would normally be. On the right side, it was here, on the side of my arm. Oh, fuck. That's one of the main reasons why I'm actually getting it fixed, so I don't look like I don't have Paul Orndorff on.
Oh, Jesus.
Cut this damn music.
This fucking music is hot as shit.
I know, but cut it.
Running here. You got fallen things back there. You got
Jesus, what a clusterfuck.
Music playing over top of Vet and I trying to have a conversation.
Right, loud too. Like the mixes.
It's low.
Super
Should I
loud.
just leave?
Anyway,
you guys want to do this? I could just leave, close my box out and shit.
No, just mute. You stay on. All right, we're back now and light the fuse. We got myself and the vet, Jamie Williams, the opinion haver.
Yes.
Ray's taking a little powder out to go adjust for some technical difficulties and mental instabilities. But vet, it's been a while, man. 2 questions for you. 1, how the hell are you?
Oh, great. Number 2.
Number 2, what'd you think of AEW? I'm not sure if you still watch every week. Last time we talked, I believe you do.
I've
without
never
getting
missed a
too
show.
Much detail. Awesome. Not
Never
going into
missed
too
a
much
show.
detail because we'll review it all. But
Sure.
what did you think overall of last night's Dynamite?
Man, I didn't like it. But there are specific reasons why. So I'll save that for when we get into like the meat and the potatoes of the thing. But yeah, I mean, just overall, this particular one, it's kind of like a good sample of the struggles that the company's having, I think, in their presentation in general.
How so?
Well, did just for an example right off the top, I'll ask you this. Did anyone get their business off without somebody walking into it or otherwise interrupting it? Now, I know this is like a common AEW occurrence for people to like just constantly being it. It's almost like they're doing it now, like leaning into it, like ribbing on us. You know what I mean? But in this one, there was some. It was starting to get kind of egregious. So that was like one thing that I can say just right off the top that I did not enjoy.
And I can relate to you there. I can't tell you if it happened in every segment. I'm pretty certain the Serena segment, they let that business close out. The tag match with Max Caster and Bowens, I don't believe they had. I could be no. You're right. They did. They had Sting and Darby come out. So maybe one segment.
Well, even the match, like if we just skipping ahead to that, technically Serena interrupted Sheeta's entrance. She just came and,
yeah, but I
behind.
won't count that one. Because,
that's like a 0.5. That's a half.
Yeah, I won't count that. She was supposed to be in the match anyway. Now, if she wasn't supposed to be in the match, sure, I'd give that to you. Big Ray's back. He's joined us. He's got a quizzical look on his face, but he does look handsome and well-groomed today. I don't know what kind of news, if any, you guys have. I know Big Ray would probably be the guy that had any news stories he'd want to discuss. Maybe you do as well, Bet. What I wanted to do once we get through the news portion is, if you notice today, no Hamin, who's usually with me. Instead, I'm joined by my old friend, the Vet, and my homeboy, Big Ray. For my portion of this, I would like to share a couple of my personal Ben Hamin stories that the listeners might dig. But Big Ray, what you got, man? Any news, any scoops, any dirt?
Well, I do have some news. Hold on, let me set the news up really quickly. Stand by. Hold on.
Ringing phone.
Hello?
Hey, what's going on?
Ladies and gentlemen, with breaking New York Knicks basketball news, we have Big Vito LoGrasso. Vito, say hello to the sexiest man. Well, you guys are both sexy. But anyway, the sexiest man in the world. This is Chris Silvio and the Rip Rogers guy, the Vet.
Hey, Chris Silvio. First, we got to start this conversation off. Congratulations to Chris Silvio on getting engaged recently. I think that's great. I'm happy for you guys. Chris, I know you're excited. You got a beautiful lady there. How are you doing, Chris?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Vito. I appreciate that. And I noticed you showing us some love on social media, so I appreciate you, my man. Unfortunately, you and I just missed each other at OVW by, I think, like 6 months. So we never had the pleasure of working together, but definitely got tons of respect for you and love all the stuff you do here. So it's good to have you on, man. I appreciate the support. How are you, Vito?
I am doing fabulous, as always. You know how it is living in Florida. You know, the pool, the jacuzzi, the gym. You know, it's just a lifestyle that only the rich and famous live.
Oh, stop.
You know, not being cold in New York. Oh, what?
That's
Come
right.
on, give me a break.
Jesus, Vito.
Vito, let me ask you this as a fellow Florida man. How do you tan? If you want your skin to be tanned, what do you do?
That's a good question.
How do I like to tan? Well, I usually do my tanning in the pool, and usually if you stay under the water and tan under the water, and when you come up, you splash in the water on you, you get the best tan because the water magnifies you. Mm-hmm. So usually I have a scarf on, I have sunglasses on because I have to keep that cool look. and keep my machismo
yeah.
in check.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Ray don't know nothing about that. But anyway.
Oh, of course.
Of course. And, but, just doing that alone and trying not to over suntan, you try to be out there for 45 minutes maximum.
Boom.
I have a question for Vito. Vito, do you wear a Versace banana hammock when you're tanning?
Good question.
Well, I don't like to disclose my royalties and all my secrets, but Versace is the top brand I wear along with Danny Miami.
Danny Miami? See, I'm poor. I don't know anything about that. Vet, do you know anything about Danny Miami?
Nothing at all.
So, Vito, the reason I ask you this as a fellow Florida man, my older brother just moved to Florida about a year and a half ago. He's a pretty tough dude. He's a former soldier, did tours of duty in Iraq, Afghanistan. He was an amateur wrestler.
Thank you for your service, man. All good.
Yeah, tough guy, good dude. He sends me a text about 2 weeks ago, says, "Hey, man, what do you do for tanning?" I said, "Bro, we live in Florida. Go outside." He has a pool and a hot tub at his house. Go lay out by the pool. Go for a walk. Go for a run with your shirt off. That's what we do in Florida. We don't need tanning beds. We don't need sprays.
We don't need tanning beds.
You know what I mean? We just go out and get it done, Vito.
If you have the luxury of having a pool and a jacuzzi in your backyard, it's easier to get a no tan line tan because you have the privacy of your own backyard. Being if you go to, like, you live in a golf course community and you have to be careful, of what you show. I mean, you can wear some tanning briefs or, hammocks, as Ray would like to call them, and tan evenly. So it is obtainable to get a no tan line tan here in Florida. But Danny Miami, if people don't know, is a very expensive underwear and brand. If everybody goes to DannyMiami.com and you go to see it, the underwear is $25 and $30 a pair.
Wow.
There's no cheapies there.
Does it come with extra room in the gimmick area for you? Because I know
Yes, only extra large.
I've heard things about
the IGB for the LOG. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But it is a good brand. I also shop at Versace, which I have a $600 bathrobe that I'm eyeing out. I just got to move some stocks around, and I'll be able to attain that. It's going to be very fabulous to wear that.
Well, Big Vito, real quick, there is no wrestling news because I actually covered a whole bunch of shit. I was on live with Vince Russo and with your wife, Noelle, who is my best friend. She's like a sister.
Yes, she is.
She's like my best friend, and we had a fucking blast there. But there is some sports news that you were excited about, and that's why you called me. So I just wanted to go on air and just kind of, talk about it real quick before we let you go and jump into AEW.
Well, here it is, guys. The Knicks are making moves. Cam Reddish to the Knicks, Kevin Knox, and a slew of draft picks. Protected, of course. The Knicks are looking to make a move in the standings, being that they've been hovering around 500 for half the season, just like our Los Angeles Lakers. But with the Knicks actually able to have the maneuverability with the draft picks to make some acquisitions, I think it's going to be a very interesting second half for us New Yorkers, us diehard Knicks fans, and I'm looking forward to the second half of the season. But if everybody doesn't know, go to my TikTok, 120,000 views on the return of Vito LoGrasso coming back to wrestling. It is probably the most exciting news. I am in the process of sending out my package.
Whoa! What are we talking about? The banana hammock gimmick thing?
You have your mind in the gutter.
Well, it is what it is, bro. Vito, listen. Before we let you go, I really brought you on not to talk about Knicks, but since we didn't have any news and I thought it'd be fun to have you on. I wanted to talk about your comeback, and you have the vet here and you have Silvio here. Now, Vito, how long had it been since you actually been in a wrestling ring, like actually working in front of a crowd?
All right. So I lasted 7 years. What people don't know is I was training for a secret project for a year. And I buried myself in the gym, and I've been doing every exercise you could do. When I returned to the ring in Cincinnati a couple of weeks ago, everybody was like, "Wow, Vito, you never change. You always look the same. You're always in shape." And I did my match. He said, "Vito, that was awesome." I said, "Guys, I haven't wrestled in 7 years." It was like I never left. But for the amount of practice and dedication I gave to the wrestling business and a perfectionist that I am, if I couldn't do it, guys, I wouldn't. I would never embarrass myself with the sport. But it was like I never left. But you can't get off the couch and say 2 weeks, I'm going to go back into the ring. Talking about a year of training, solid training. And everybody knows if you're going to make it to the top in this business, you have to put the time in.
Amen.
And Vito LoGrasso has always put the time in. Just like Chris Silvio when he was wrestling. I know he was, wrestling around the world and he was doing his thing and he put his time in. Right now, I think Chris has been one of the trainers down at NWA, and he's been helping out backstage, and he's been helping some of the young talent, giving knowledge at seminars, which I think is awesome. Maybe in the future I can come join him and be part of the NWA crew. That would be great too. But guys, what's even better is that I'm part of Hamin Media. I work with Big Ray. He is friends and best friends with my wife, which is very cool. So, and then Vince Russo is always lurking around, to see who bought the pizza, but we all know the truth.
I don't know. Listen, Vito, I got to cut you off, and I'm going to ask these gentlemen if they have anything to add before you go. But I was on with your wife and with Vince Russo, and you're going to have to go over to channelattitude.com, subscribe, because that's the only place you're going to actually hear this podcast tomorrow morning. And we had an answer that is kind of contrary to your kind of, I guess I would say what you state as a fact that you bought the pizza. And,
right.
I can't stooge off exactly what Vince Russo actually put over, but the fact is that he had some evidence that you have yet to supply your listeners.
He forgets that I knew the guy from the pizza place where he used to get the pizza. He used to go pick it up. He never paid for it.
Oh, I don't know. You know what? Let's just have the people head over to channelattitude.com. Subscribe there, guys. It's like, the vet always says, just don't buy a fucking Starbucks this month or this day. My cup of Starbucks costs about $5 and it costs $4 and change to freaking get a month worth of HMG over. But anyway, Silvio, anything you wanted to say real quick or vet
Yes.
to Mr. Big Vito LoGrasso?
I definitely have something I want to ask Vito about, but Vet, you got anything first? So I'll throw the floor to you.
Not much. I just want to say that, I come on here and I'm lucky enough to be able to talk to the HMG fans and get to work with such great people. I did wrestle, but these guys, Silvio, Vito, they are wrestlers. They lived the life. They bled, sweat, and paid the price and everything like that. And you guys don't even realize how much knowledge you're getting sometimes, I feel like. So, and I'm lucky to be able to interact with these gentlemen as well.
Awesome.
All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go.
Oh, hold on, Vito.
Vito,
I think the sexy man has a question for you
Do
before
you,
you go.
do you have 2 more minutes for Mr. Silvio today, sir, in your busy schedule?
Yes, I got 2 more minutes. I got even
right.
3 if it cuts
Beautiful.
into race time. Go ahead.
Oh.
All right, so Vito, one of my favorite pro wrestling stories of all time involves yourself. And a couple versions of this story has been told on a couple podcasts. My own podcast, when Adam Revolver was on it, a OVW wrestler who you wrestled, and his tag team partner and HMG affiliate, Ted the Man Beast, also told this story, I believe, on this show. So I would like to tell this story about you with you on the line and see if you remember it, and you can verify for the events that transpired. So first,
go ahead.
Do you happen to remember a young wrestler in OVW? He was a taller, bald-headed, very fair-skinned white man named Adam Revolver. His nickname was Power. Does that name ring a bell?
Yes.
At all? Okay.
Yes, it does.
So Power was a greenhorn, fresh out of beginner's class, and he was on an OVW house show, spot show somewhere working against you. And he was very nervous, being a young guy, and you being Vito, you had some clout. And so you guys get through the match, and at some point during the match, you called the hip toss, and you hip tossed Mr. Revolver. As you hip toss Revolver, who was notoriously known for having a stinky ass because he drank cartons of egg whites every day, he rips ass and farts loudly as you're hip tossing him, and you get through the match. And after the match, he comes up to you and says, "Mr. Vito, sir, how was the match? Is there anything I could have done better?" And this is Revolver's retelling of it. You responded by saying, good out there, but don't fought in the ring. Now, Mr. Vito's a New Yorker and tells him, "Don't fought in the ring." Revolver is from Montgomery, Alabama. He's never heard that word. So he says, "I'm sorry, what?" And Vito says, "I said don't fought in the ring." And again, he says, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Vito. Can you explain that to me? I don't know what I did wrong. I don't understand." "Don't fought in the ring. It fucking stinks." And Revolver responds by saying, "Oh, fart. Don't fart in the ring." Okay, I got it. That's one of my favorite wrestling stories of all time. Big Vito was a part of it. Do you remember this story at all?
Yes, I do. He made me speak my broken English about 50 times. And then he said, "Is there anything else I could do for you?" I said, "Just don't fart in the ring, all right?" What the hell?
Oh, Vito, listen, man, thank you so much for jumping on, man. We didn't have any news stories at the top, and we want to make this as entertaining as possible. Vito, before you go, can you please plug and promote anything you got going on? And, of course, the Big Vito Mafia.
All right, the Big Vito Mafia, the Big Vito brand. It's coming to you live, baby, live, with Noel Harlow LoGrasso, who is sitting here. And to give you all a special treat, I'm going to let her do the plugs.
Oh, yeah.
Noel, would you do this for Ray so he could smile at the end of the show? And Chris, congratulations again. Here you go, Noel.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Vito.
He never does his own plugs because he's such a celebrity. All right, guys, you can check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/BigVMafia. You can check Vito out on BigVito.com. He is taking bookings for 2022. He's also on thebigvitobrand.com and under all social media at the Big Vito Brand. Check him out on TikTok. He's very funny. There you go, man.
Is he?
All right, guys, there you go.
All right, Vito. You can hang up, my brother. Thank you so much. Vito,
Thank
I love
you,
you. I love you, Vito.
All right, have a great day, guys. Enjoy your show. Take care.
We will. Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
Goodbye. That was
with a podcast, they're in love. If you couldn't tell, they pick on each other, but it never lasts. Vito loves sports, the beach and lifting. Noel loves books, Batman and Disney, like Sonny and Cher, but way more stressful. I love Lucy, if Ricky could wrestle. Big Vito and Noel, a married couple.
This song will stay in your head for the
Is
rest
that
of
Ben
the day.
Folds? Did you get Ben Folds to record this?
That was actually me singing.
Oh, really? Oh, that's nice.
Let me try it again.
The range.
Vito and Noel. Right?
Yeah, that was it.
Did you guys
Nailed it.
enjoy that?
Yeah,
love
that's
that.
great. For the record, for the listeners, that wrestler, Power Adam Revolver, that's the one I was talking about that drenched Kelly in his body sweat.
Oh.
Power was,
God.
he's a phenomenal wrestler, one of the best wrestlers I've ever worked. He is just a sweat machine. I don't know why. He has some kind of problem where he oversweats.
It's like Patrick
So-
Ewing.
Yeah,
I liked
he's-
wrestling him in matches, but I hated working with him in practice because he would just drip sweat. So, Vet,
There'd
you'll
be-
appreciate this.
Yeah.
I had a tag match once with Revolver, one of many, and I was in an arm bar looking up at Power, and I believe I was positioned on my back. And I was doing an open mouth baby face sell,
No.
reaching for
No.
something. And I
Oh,
just
God.
watched this bead of sweat drip from his brow, forehead to nose, right in my fucking mouth.
Oh,
Oh, was it like the scene with what the fuck? Let It Rain. Oh, what the fuck was that movie when they were playing basketball?
Along Came Polly.
Yes, and the dude
Yes.
fucking this.
Yes, it was
all
like
the
that,
sweat.
but it went in my mouth.
Oh,
Nearly vomited.
oh my god. Anyway,
Yeah. Well,
is there anything? Jeez, that is disgusting. Vet, you ever had anything like that happen to you? Or anybody
well,
fought-
I wrestled
anybody
him
fought in
several
the ring?
times, so yes, God, yes. It's
Anybody-
like the mats around the ring were just, it was puddle after puddle after puddle from wherever he rotated at. And yeah, so it was always, you didn't, and he went shirtless for practice for some reason. Just had to, right? He wore those John Stockton basketball shorts and not much else. And he'd just get in there and he'd sweat on it. He should have died of dehydration, you would think, from the amount of sweat that he lost every single day. But he was an Energizer Bunny, man. Couldn't blow him up.
Anybody ever fart in the ring? Fart?
Oh, absolutely. Many times.
Who's the worst? Who's the worst gassy person without, hurting somebody's feelings?
It varies. I mean, you try to be respectful and hold it. Like, the only time it comes out is on accident. Nobody, like, intentionally busts ass in the ring. I do specifically remember one time wrestling with Fang, my good friend, a.k.a. Rafael Constantine, and he was giving me either a flying head scissor or a Hurricane Rana, both of which involve his crotch or ass in my face. I can't remember which one, but as soon as I got him up to base him and his ass was right there, nailed me with it. I took the bump, you little fucker. But I've done, man, anything that can come out of my body, with the exception of urine, has come out of my body in a wrestling match.
And I agree real quick with Cujo. Ben Hamin cuts farts of mass destruction.
He does. They're awful. I remember one match, something happened, and wrestlers with long hair. So fans might wonder why wrestlers always wet their hair when they have long hair. One reason is so it doesn't dry out and frizz, and the other reason is so it doesn't get caught in your mouth. So being a long hair babyface for years, I had one match where I was starting to get winded, and I went to like sell and breathe and like gas for a tag or something, and I choked on my hair, and I knew I was going to throw up, and I didn't want to throw up in the middle of the ring. So I rolled to the floor, opened the apron, went underneath the ring real quick, threw up for about 30 seconds, came back in the ring, and finished the match.
Vet, any stories like that before we jump into AEW?
No, I was perfect, brother.
Perfect.
And I did shit my pants in my OVW debut, actually, working Albarone and APOC.
What do you do after the match? Do you just run to the bathroom and just throw it under the sink?
Yeah, it was more of a shart than a full shit, thankfully.
Okay.
But I was going for a springboard. The finish was I springboard and get hit out of the air, clothesline or punch or whatever it was. So as soon as I jumped and I took that bump, I just felt, and I'm like, oh, motherfucker. Thankfully, it was the finish. I went and probably just tossed my drawers or something. One more good one on that. We can never have too many shit stories. I'm just going to put you like that, put you out to that. So this one is more of a testicular story.
Ooh.
So there are times I'm a wild guy, man. Like, I'm a free spirit. I fucking ride by the seat of my pants, bros. You know what I mean? So there are plenty of matches I've had where I do not wear undergarments. I've done it in trunks, like the underwear style wrestling trunks with nothing under them. I've done it in tights. This particular match, I'd forgotten to bring under tights and didn't care because sometimes I don't use them. And I was wearing long tights in a match against Cliff Compton, former WWE tag champ, good buddy of mine. In the middle of the match, I'm laying on my back. And I remember, the reason why I remember this is because beforehand, I'd come back off the road. I spent like 3 days on the road and I had a huge hangover. So in the locker room, I was like, Cliff, we know each other. Let's just call it in the ring. I don't want to try to remember shit. He's like, okay, brother, I'll follow your lead. So Cliff gives me a body slam or something like that. And I'm laying on my back with my legs kind of up, my knees up. And all of a sudden I feel a draft. And I'm like, why are my balls cold? And then I look down and notice I've got a hole in my tights right where my scrot is. And I'm not wearing any under tights. So I promptly kind of kayfabe, grab it a little bit, roll over to my stomach. I'm like, all right, Cliffy, let's take this thing home. So the fans that night got a little view of the psychedelic superstars.
Now, if that was Vito, from what I hear, they would have thought he grew a third leg during the match.
Some would say.
Vet too, right, Vet?
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for AEW Dynamite, January 12th, 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, it is AEW Dynamite, and it is coming to you, from North Kakalaki. That is North Carolina for all you people that aren't cool like Chris Silvio and the Vet. Ladies and gentlemen, we kick this show off hot. Now, this is the way it's going to be, gentlemen. I'm going to be pitching the ball, and you guys are going to be pretty much smacking the ball out of the park. That's the way we're going to do this. And we're going to kick the show off with a promo. What do you think about this promo between Adam Cole and Red Dragon as they make their entrance? And then you got Matt Jackson and the Young Bucks. They come in and they going back and forth. What did you think of this promo?
Well, I didn't really get into it, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of over the Adam Cole,
Baby.
the whole thing. Have been for a while.
Mm-hmm.
People have been hearing me say that for a while now, so no surprise there. The best friends come out, of course, right? And then they come out and attack, and then they are beaten up and left.
Yes.
Which is not the way it usually goes, during these kind of things. So the baby faces are trash, and heels up, and that's kind of where we're at with this, which is an interesting choice. I'm not going to say it's right or wrong, just say it's interesting. Phil?
So I think Adam Cole has kind of been used questionably throughout this entire tenure. You had a lot of money written on Adam Cole, and I think you still do have a lot of money written on Adam Cole, and it can be salvaged. I don't think he's like in the gutter or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but just think about it. Like from the day they brought him in, right? We get this huge pop when he comes out, surprise. He does the promo, awesome. Then we immediately, in the span of that promo, put in the Young Bucks, and I believe Kenny Omega was even a part of this segment. They did the kiss cheek thing. So immediately the attention was taken off of him right from the start on his debut. And then we also later in the night debuted Daniel Bryan. So that kind of, one-upped Cole again on his first night. And then we see him, they've been giving him wins. They've been putting him over strong. But he's working competitive matches with Orange Cassidy, with the Best Friends, etc., where Adam Cole should be booked as a headline main eventer if that's what they brought him in for. So the booking of him, I can't say I'm a huge fan of. I like the Red Dragon aspect. I hope they reunite them. It's just a little confusing, as we all know, the story between like what's going on with them and the Young Bucks, and they're doing that purposefully for whatever reason. They think that's the course of action to take, is to sell this tension between the Young Bucks not liking Red Dragon. Are they going to get along? Whatever it is. I just hope we can culminate that soon and make it clear who is who and, who's with whom and why. Like that'll tell you something Rip always told us is you want to make shit so a 5-year-old could understand the program. I'm a 38-year-old and sometimes I don't understand what they're doing. So there's an issue there. And I'm also a 38-year-old who studied wrestling my entire life. So if I don't get it, there's a good chance that some of the other fans don't as well. So I want to see Cole and Red Dragon do their thing. Maybe Roddy will join them when his contract's up. Let Omega and Kenny and the Bucks do their thing over there. And it'll make for some good matches. Think of how good the Young Bucks and Omega versus O'Reilly, Fish, and Adam Cole will be. You know what I mean? Let's just get all the muddiness out of the way. But what did save this segment, in my opinion, was that Britt Baker spot at the end. Right. She had the pop of the segment and really saved that shit. So it just, goes to show how much a strong character and a winning character can do for a segment.
Well, just for the people that didn't watch, you have Chris Statlander who he came into the ring to make the save. You're not going to hit a woman, but then Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, comes in the ring and she beats the shit out of Chris Statlander. Like Vet was saying, you got babies get their ass handed to them. You got the heels over strong here. Vet, anything you want to add to this little opening segment before we move on?
No, only just, well, I would ask Superstar a question. Now, you did say something interesting there where you said if you brought Adam Cole in to be a main event headliner,
Baby.
Is it possible that they did not?
No.
It's not possible that they did not see him as a headliner?
No.
Well, how can you explain this then?
Wait, I'm sorry. Am I understanding the question? Are you saying that AEW believed he was a headliner and they brought him in, or they did not think he was a headliner?
That is saying they brought him in with the intention to make him another guy or mid-level talent. Is that correct, Vet?
I'm asking if that is the case, if that's even possible that that's the case.
So the reason why I say that's not the case is I don't know for sure what Cole's making, but think about the kind of money WWE has. And granted, Cole didn't like the creative offered, but I'm sure whatever financially they offered him was a lot of money, right? So you can imagine what Tony Khan had to offer to get him from there. So he's investing, I don't know how much it is, but I'm sure he's getting a pretty damn good payday. And he came in with buzz. He was the hottest free agent at the time. It was a huge deal. And I know Tony Khan does look at Adam Cole in the same vein that he looks at the Young Bucks or an Omega as a top guy. The problem is they have so many top guys now and so much talent. There's only but so much room at the top. So it's hard. As a booker, it's tough.
Interesting. Excuse me, I forgot to hit the cough button. I'm going to hit it now. So this match coming up, I was really interested in. And again, whenever I watch AEW, because I don't watch it every single week, I like to review the show, or I like to watch the show as a new person. In other words, I like to watch the show as a wrestling fan or somebody coming into, watching wrestling and saying, okay, I'm watching this for the first time. I know nothing about anybody. Who are these people? Now, you have CM Punk versus Wardlow. Now, the first thing I'm going to tell you guys is, and I don't get to review AEW a bunch. Wardlow looks like a fucking star to me. As soon as I see this guy come in the ring, that's a star. I was interested to see how this match would play out between he and CM Punk. And there is talks. Wardlow was asked by a couple of different podcasters about him being offered WWE contracts, so on and so forth. Says he's very happy with AEW. He's glad to be one of the originals. This is a guy that I believe that they can definitely shoot to the moon. And I'll go with Vet first. Vet, what did you think of this match between CM Punk and Wardlow? Did CM Punk, ever since he came back, and of course he's a lot older, he has a bump card that I could never imagine having, look a little step slower to you? And did you like the way they set up this finish with powerbomb after powerbomb after powerbomb? He rolls out. You have the confrontation between he and MJF, who is another megastar in the wrestling business, in my opinion. What did you think of this whole match and the way everything played out at the end? We'll get into that later on.
Well, first you asked me, does he look a step slow? Not really. CM Punk has never been the most athletic guy. I think He would tell you that himself. So he definitely looks like he's in shape, and he looks like he's in ring shape. And in this match, he was supposed to take a beating, which he did. So I didn't really see any issues with that. The creative on the finish. Here's what I don't like about the actual creative on the finish. It just doesn't make sense to me that, I mean, again, they want to get to a specific place, so they chose this way to get there. So I don't like that MJF wouldn't just, like, if you've got CM Punk beat and you want to beat him up more, why does that need to be between the bells? Right. He can beat him up as much as he wants after Wardlow wins the match, but they have to find a way that Wardlow doesn't win the match so that they can do the thing, they can continue what they've been teasing with Wardlow and MJF and their dissension and Wardlow's eventual face turn. They've clearly been building to that. But it just makes MJF look like a dumbass, right? He could have had CM Punk beat and then just continued to beat him up. Right. Also, it looks really bad if CM Punk is that out of it and the ref doesn't stop it. That was the first thing that came to my mind because, and I didn't even know it was going to happen later. In the show. So like seeing that to where this man is basically helpless, and just continues to get powerbombed because that's the spot. Okay. Like that doesn't make sense either. And then that also means that after this hellacious beating, that a weak small package for a fresh Wardlow, I just don't buy it. I'm sorry.
Right.
Don't buy it. Doesn't look good for those first time viewers, Ray, like you're talking about.
Right.
So they're going to be kind of confused about that. They could have done any other, they could have, whatever they wanted to get to, they could have come up with a more logical way to get there. So I didn't like that aspect of it. If you were just talking about the way they performed it, I thought everybody did good.
I before Chris, you jump in. My thought process really quickly was, and I want to see if Chris agrees with me. And I bet we are on the same fucking wavelength. I thought the same thing. CM Punk couldn't even stand, let alone wrap somebody up and hold a man that fresh and powerful for a freaking roll up 3-second pin, right? Now, with all that being said, for me, what I would have done is I would have had MJF get on the ring apron, maybe hit him with a forearm shiver, hit him with the fucking ring that apparently has powers to knock people out. Have Wardlow then get rolled up, a la Stone Cold Steve Austin rolling up Owen Hart after he broke his neck. 1, 2, 3, boom, and then continue to beat the living shit out of him. That could have been it. What do you think there, Chris?
I'll agree with Jamie that the execution of the small package itself was a little lackluster.
At least he crossed the legs, though. He did cross the legs.
Probably due to the size difference between the two. And I'm not sure how many times Wardlow's been small package, to be honest. Big people, as a trainer, I've noticed the larger you are, the harder it is for you to get small package because you're uncomfortable. You think you're going to roll on your neck, blah, blah, blah. I like the match itself. This was my favorite segment on the show. Punk, to his credit, really put Wardlow over. Punk's a made guy, and he made Wardlow look like a monster. He sold his ass off for him the whole time. As far as the stoppage, they did point out in commentary at one point, like when Punk rolled to the side, the referee asked him about if he can continue, and Punk waved him off. And the announcers did at least say, Punk saying, no, he's good to continue. So at least they covered that area. I didn't really have any problems other than the small package was a little lackluster. I didn't really have any problems with the finish, the way it was set up. There was always different flavors and takes we could have done. It could have been something where like Wardlow has that moment with MJF and MJF is telling him, no, you power bomb him again. And Punk's just kind of dead selling. And, you could milk that for a while and pick Punk up for the power bomb. Punk slips behind, shoves Wardlow into MJF. MJF takes the bump, and then he rolls him up in some kind of roll up. That'd be a little bit easier to put on him. Could have done something like that. But, for what it was fine. And I would agree with Hamin. He and I are always arguing about what should open versus what should close. I think this match, and we'll cover it later, this should have been the main event.
Certainly, for several reasons. And just another idea for a finish that I think would have been even probably the best option is if MJF orders Wardlow to do something that gets him disqualified. If you got to give CM Punk the win that bad, then, look, everybody loves Cobra Kai, right? It's the hottest thing out right now. Well, what's the most famous thing that all these people like to quote meme-wise from that movie? Sweep the leg, Johnny. You know what I mean? Like when he tells the guy, I guess it was it was Johnny. He said, or no, well, there was the other guy, Dutch, like he told him to take him out. That's what got him injured in the first place, right? So he knew he was going to get DQ'd, and he's like, okay. And then he immediately, takes out Daniel's leg, and that's what leads to the finals, right? So it's the same deal. You could have done something like that where, it's just like Wardlow's being ordered to do something that caused him to lose. So, I mean, all kinds of stuff they could have done. But
here's one more good one too to kind of play off what they did last week. They could have been doing that same thing, teasing the power bomb, MJF yelling at Wardlow, whatever. Punk slips behind, hits Wardlow with the go to sleep. Wardlow's down for the pin. MJF is in the ring. It's a standoff with Punk. Crowd's like, oh shit, MJF's about to get it. Instead, he runs past Punk, drops an elbow on Wardlow, getting Punk DQ'd. And Punk loses the match via DQ the same way he cost MJF the match the week before via DQ.
But I think
it's a callback.
I think it all boils down to what Vet said in the beginning. There's no fucking reason why they need to get the pin on the guy unless MJF is more obsessed with embarrassing CM Punk. That could be the psychology. He wants to see CM Punk lose. But there's no reason. If you want to see CM Punk hurt, just beat the shit out of the guy. They get the DQ. It is what it is, right?
Right. And that's a common occurrence in AEW is people just getting beat up any random place in the building. So I don't really see why it has to be in the match. But yeah, I mean.
Well, anywho.
Boys, you hold it down for a moment, and I'll be right back with you.
Yeah, no problem. So post-match, we had Friedman He gets in the way of Wardlow, and Sean Spears gets in between them, so on and so forth. They go back and forth. So Sean Spears is the peacemaker, not like John Cena, but he is the peacemaker. And listen, man, what you
3
laughing?
episodes streaming right now on HBO Max of Peacemaker.
Oh, has it started? Is it started already?
Yeah.
Oh, so I was supposed to do laundry. I'm probably not going to do that.
But
I'm
everybody
probably gonna
stay
watch it.
here. Don't go watch Peacemaker on HBO Max now. Wait till our show is done. Then run over to HBO Max and watch 3 episodes of The Peacemaker starring John Cena.
And I got to bury Yohimbo.
Uh-oh.
He hasn't seen Cobra Kai yet.
Oh. Well, he'll get around to it. I'm sure he's got a long list of things that...
Anywho. All right, so we got Dante Martin versus Powerhouse Will Hobbs. This is a match that took place.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of a match that took place like exactly 1 segment ago.
Yeah.
How are you going to have
Yeah.
on the same show, forget back to back, on the same show, how are you going to have a match where a giant guy beats up a smaller guy for an uncomfortably long period of time, and then the smaller guy slips over? They even had a guy on the outside in this one too, Ricky Starks, playing the part of MJF here. Like, do they not see? This is another reason when I said for more reasons than one that they could have had Punk and a Wardlow go on last. Is because that would have distanced itself from this match if you just had to have this match. This was like a carbon copy of the previous segment, only with guys that were way less over. And so that was very bizarre. Like, it's a very bizarre card order decision. Right, Ray? I mean, like, did you think of this? Were you getting a strong sense of deja vu as you see Hobbs pummeling Dante Martin for like 10 minutes?
Yes.
Through a break in a picture-in-picture, just punching him? Like, why isn't this kid dead?
And you get the Jay Lethal save.
Yeah, you get a,
Same shit. Yo,
It's the same.
so all jokes aside, when I did watch this, I said to myself, I was like, they're booking the same match. I really said that to me. I'm like, look at it. What the fuck? They booked the same match. It just happened. The same shit. Similar moves, kind of. So then I had to watch this match in a different way. Since I already, like, the first 4 or 5 minutes of the match, I'm like, all right, this is the same kind of story they're telling here. So I just wanted to watch Hobbs and Dante Martin as they wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to say something about this kid, Dante Martin. I don't know what it is about the kid. I like him a lot. And I don't know why. Huh?
A lot.
I do. I don't know what it is. I find him to be extremely likable. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know why. And I'm being genuine with you. I don't know why. I like seeing him wrestle. He has like an underdog feel about him. Every time he has kind of look on his face, like he's always sad. If that makes any sense. And he's very likable, and I could see him getting over as an upper mid card baby face. You know, and eventually, maybe one day, even winning maybe a TNT title or a tag team title. Never be a world champion, I don't think, but you never know with this company. But that kid is something about him. Does anybody in the chat understand what I'm saying out there? But go ahead, Vet.
Well, it's going to be interesting because eventually he's going to have like a brother that's going to come back. And then if Dante Martin is some kind of a upper mid card person and his brother's not on that level, is he going to drag himself down to his brother's level to be a tag team in this tag team division that's a horrible tag team division with way too many people that are having no matches? Or are you going to just abandon your brother, or are you going to try to feud with your brother or whatever to separate these two guys, which they're basically twins, right? I mean, so you essentially have two Dante Martins?
Yeah, something like that. What's his brother's name again? That's Darius?
I forgot. It's been so long.
Is it? Hold on, let me.
Please forgive me.
No. Yes,
my
yes,
memory
yes.
is.
Yes. Darius Martin, and they do look a lot like. Darius Martin's a little thicker than his brother. It looks like. Yeah, those kids could be a tag team champs, man. We'll see. Anywho, they ain't no Big Vito, I'll tell you that.
No.
Anywho, let's see. What do we got here? So that match is over. We have Dante Martin, who actually goes over. We told you about the Ricky Starks gimmick. We told you about Jay Lethal running in and making a save, so they didn't attack him.
He goes over with another unbelievable pin situation. Like, you can't tell me that, you know, with tree trunk size legs, that Powerhouse Hobbs is going to get held down by this.
What did he hit him with? What did he win with?
It was like some kind of a friggin' schoolboy something.
Yeah, it was weird.
He schoolboyed him. The roll-up.
Schoolboyed
Powerhouse Hobbs.
Pretty much. Can you imagine being in middle school or something like that, and there's always that one big giant kid that's a bully with a mustache, and you just roll him up and hold him down?
Yeah, of course. That's how you solve all your problems in the streets, the playground, everywhere.
You roll somebody up, they're just going to roll through, get up, and slam you right into the garbage can. Don't do that.
They're not just going to apologize?
No.
They're not going to look around and be like, did you guys all see that? Did I get pinned? They're not going to do that?
And God forbid, there ain't going to be no Jay Lethal coming to save you.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry. Well, it's called fucking life, bro. Anyway. Inner Circle are interviewed backstage.
Who interrupts them?
About being PWI's 2021 faction of the year. But, as you said, some Puerto Rican dude that owns a bodega on the corner, he comes in, big guy. He comes in and interrupts him. Hey, Chris, can you hear us?
Yes.
We were just putting over Dante Martin in that match and how it was a carbon copy of the match before that. Do you want to add something before we jump into this Inner Circle jerk?
Yeah, to an extent, I could see that. I love Will Hobbs, and I think Dante Martin's an impressive flyer and has a good future if he stays healthy, works on his body, keeps learning. I thought Dante was a little sloppy in this match. I understand why. It's because he was trying to show that he's going for broke and being aggressive.
He's working with a building.
Right. However, his movements were extremely choppy because he's yet figured out how to show that intensity and aggression while still making sure his fundamentals are sound. So that's the only critique I'd give him for that match. Like, slow down just a hair, still get that emotion across that you're mad or you're trying to slay the dragon, whatever it is, but don't rush to get there because the footwork becomes sloppy. So that's really my only critique of him in that one. I don't know if I would have put him over Hobbs, but it is what it is.
I was telling Vet that there's something about the kid that I really like a lot, about Dante Martin. I forgot about his brother Darius. I forgot they were a tag team. And I was saying to Vet that there's something very likable about this kid and how he has the likability, I think, is based on the fact that he's such an underdog in every match. He even has an underdog type look on his face every single fucking match. That's why I like him. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, did you know, Chris, that the faction of the year is the Inner Circle jerk, but they're interrupted by Eddie Kingston. You know how many Eddie Kingstons live in my old neighborhood?
How many?
A lot. Like, I mentioned that a bodega owner came and interrupted his interview, but he looks like this big Puerto Rican dude that used to own a bodega on Avenue D in 2nd Street. Seriously. By the way, I don't know if you know, what's this kid? The kid from LAX, the taller one. Ortiz?
Santana's the taller
Santana. He grew up, he went to school with my nephew. Right there. They went to Avenue D. He went to 22, junior high school 22. I knew him when he was a little kid. He used to play basketball on the projects in the basketball court too. Very nice kid. Always a good kid from what I know. But yeah.
That's always popped me about New York, like how instead of like you guys having like, I don't know, George Washington High School, it's like PS 33, high school 13. Like, it's just funny that it's all numbers.
Well, 22, when he was going to 22, was you ever heard the old scenario that they put the fence around the school to keep the bad guys out? In this school, they did that to keep the monsters in.
No.
That's how bad a school. I went to 56, thank God.
So, but like, anyway, when you do like a job application and they put like, experience and education, do you put school number 52 on it? Like, what do you?
Yeah. It would be so I went to Satellite Academy High School. Prior to that, I went to art and design, but I unfortunately was thrown out for fighting a lot. Anyway, so but before that, yes, but you wouldn't put your middle school in the application, I don't believe. But if you did, yes, it would be PS 134, which was my elementary school, and junior high school at the time, not middle school. It would be called junior high school 56.
But the high schools have names, not numbers.
High schools have names. So you have
Got
Art
it.
and Design, Satellite Academy, all these other, yes. So they
Got
have
it,
names. So that's what you would put on a job application. So you have the Inner Circle Jerk there, interrupted by Eddie Kingston. What did you think of this little segment there, Chris Silvio? Did you like the interaction between Eddie Kingston and Y2J and the fact that his boys kind of just walked off?
Yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes. And I think Kingston and LAX would make for a hell of a unit. So I'm kind of hoping that they go that direction. I don't know where it's leading to, but sometimes that's a good thing because it leaves me curious and wanting to see what happens next. So I think that's good TV writing. The segment itself, I don't think was like anything to write home about, like segment of the year or anything, but I appreciate the business that was accomplished in it, the seed planted, and all of us now questioning what's going to happen next.
Vet.
I felt like it was awkward. I feel like Eddie Kingston is always angry about something that he's way too angry about. I don't think that anger justifies whatever
Eddie.
the situation. I know that.
I've been in the locker room with Eddie, and he's sitting on wherever his thing is on the couch or on the side, and he has that Eddie Kingston look on his face. I remember the first few times I met him, I was like, I don't want to use the word scared, but like, you know, I'm going up to him to say hello, and I'm just thinking like, man, like this fucking guy looks like he's in no mood. Like, I hope he's all right. You know, and then you go up to him, introduce yourself, shake hands, like, oh, hey, bro, how are you? And he's fine. But yeah, he always looks like that. He always looks angry, and there's a good chance he is angry.
I mean, he's from the hood. You know how
he's very open about his issues and himself. You know that was it the Derek Jeter thing, the Players Tribune, is that what it's called, or whatever that thing is that you can write on, that the athletes write on? Yeah, and you know he was very honest in that PC role, which was really good. And I know that he's the angry guy, and I know that's really him, and I just would like to see that more. Just channel it in a way that makes a little bit more sense, or something to really give him something to sink his teeth into. This was just kind of awkward. And I love Eddie Kingston, and I would like to use him much differently than they've been using him.
I agree. You agree, Chris?
Yep.
Because I feel like whenever he shows up, like for one of these angles or whatever, it's just there to put some guy over, and it feels like Eddie Kingston never gets to get over, and then him putting other guys over doesn't really mean much. No one ever believes he'll win.
I agree with you halfway on that. You're right that that's been his primary job, is to get other guys over. However, he's done a hell of a job getting himself over in the process. Like I can recall noticing probably around when I really first started hearing it is when they first did that first show in front of fans at Daly's place, and they had some kind of wild brawl match. But I remember hearing the entire crowd chanting, Eddie, Eddie, and he was in the ring with a lot of established talent. So that told me right there, holy fuck, Eddie Kingston's resonating with this audience. And there were other big matches where he'd be teamed up with Moxley or something like that, and you'd hear the crowd chanting, Eddie, Eddie. So despite all that, Vet, you're right. Despite all that, he's managed to get himself over. But we do have to finally pull the trigger and say, okay, now it's time to get Eddie some wins, because you can get over as fuck with the audience. Look at Zack Ryder in 2010. You can get over as fuck with the audience, but if they don't give you wins from there, it's going to be hard to keep that momentum.
Yes.
Because the fans can't believe
that's my concern. I feel like I don't want to waste Eddie when you've got plenty of people to build the Eddie, so that whenever you want to use Eddie for those type of things, like people think he has halfway of a chance of winning, you know, and it makes it more intriguing. If you already know the finish of every one of these matches, why are we watching it? So
can you build Eddie Kingston a long-term storyline, maybe a year, even longer than that, where he is, because when I look at Eddie Kingston, I look at him as a modern day Terry Funk. a very tough looking, believable guy, cuts passionate promos. If you look at Eddie Kingston and Terry Funk down the line, there are a lot of similarities. And I think having Eddie Kingston in a, underdog, keeps losing, but then finally starts getting a win here, getting a win there, getting a win here, getting a win there, and then finally starts building his record to a point where he finally gets that title shot at a big event, and they put the belt on the guy, even if it's just for, a month or so. You think that's something that would be of interest, to wrestling fans? I'll go with Chris first and then Vet.
Excuse me.
That's fine.
Here's what you do with Eddie Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
When Cody's back and ready, you switch the belt and have Cody win the belt back from Sammy Guevara. Cody's going to get a bunch of heat when that happens because the fans don't like Cody right now. Immediately after, I would do this within the first month of Cody re-winning the TNT title. You have Eddie Kingston versus Cody. Eddie goes over clean, wins the TNT championship. We shoot a bunch of angles of him in New York, showing where he's, where he's from, know as much about Eddie as possible. And he defends that belt on TV every week or close to every week for 6 months straight, retains the belt. And every time he's on TV for a match, we also have a promo where he can talk and get the character over before in some kind of vignette. We bring Jon Moxley back when Mox is ready. And the big challenge is now Moxley has to, whatever the ranking is, Moxley's next in line for the TNT championship. And they make an agreement. They're like, all right, all gloves are off, bro. Let's do this. We're boys, but this is about the belt. Comes time for the finish. Eddie is down on a cell. Moxley's going for the kill shot. Moxley hesitates for 1 second. He doesn't want to put his friend away. Eddie does not. Eddie either low blows, whatever, capitalizes, boom, 1, 2, 3, pins Jon Moxley in the middle of the ring. Eddie retains the title against Jon Moxley. The following week, whoever the fuck is there, it could be Dante Martin, whoever beats Eddie. Eddie's now made in the shade. He's been a champion for 6 months. He's beaten Cody. He's beaten Jon Moxley, the former top guy. So now, as Vet was saying, if you need him in an angle to enhance somebody to get them to the next level, they're going to believe in it because Eddie's been a winner for 6 months straight, and he's beaten credible people. So he can now have a program with a Sammy Guevara or a Chris Jericho or whomever and come out on the losing end, but still be all right.
Shit, that's good. Vet, anything you would add to that or take away? That's really good. I like it.
Yeah, it'll work. And just to your overall question, it's not just about Eddie Kingston. You can turn anybody around if you decide to just go with it. Doesn't matter what's happened to him up to this point. All it takes is one promo, one package or whatever, and you can start the turnaround. Nobody's too far gone, but you can't do it half-assed. You have to go with it. So just that whole scenario that just got laid out right there, of course that will work. They've got to go with it, though. And it hurts that he's already lost to Cody Rhodes because they hot-shotted that. And it also hurts that he already had a title match, at a pay-per-view, and they already hot-shotted that. If those things had been built to, then that would have been much more interesting. But it was just like, okay, Eddie Kingston caught fire. He's the internet darling right at this moment. Let's put him in the main event of a pay-per-view or whatever, and now back into obscurity. That's better. He deserves better than that. I've liked Eddie Kingston ever since I saw him, and I like how they're teasing a callback to when I first saw him with LAX in TNA. So we'll see what happens with Santana Ortiz and Eddie. Because it seems like he's kind of like, why are you hanging out with Jack Swagger and Chris Jericho?
Right.
You know what I mean?
We're family. We're family.
Right. So I like that that they're setting that up. But we'll see what they do.
Let me ask you a quick question, right?
Sure, bro.
As a fellow Puerto Rican, you are Puerto Rican, right?
All day. Wait, what's today?
When's Thursday?
Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican.
So how would you feel? Not heavy, like keep it kind of light, about a somewhat racial tension angle between these two, where
that's exactly
we're family, like what are you doing hanging out with the white boys, bro? Like, we're the fucking Boricuas. This is our streets. We're the ones from here, blah, blah, blah. These guys are making their millions and going home. They don't give a shit about you. You know, we're going back to our fucking project and whatever else.
Yep.
Do you think that would work?
I think that will work really well. And I'll tell you,
Is
I'll
it
tell
too
you
much for like
No.
the modern, you know what I mean?
No, hold on. First and foremost, I think it will work really great because when you're in the hood, right? When you're raised in the projects, I'll give you a perfect example. Do you remember when they had all these riots during the George Floyd thing?
Yes.
Okay. I had been visiting my mother at this time, and I witnessed this. You had all these people coming into that neighborhood. Now, within the projects, there are several buildings, and sometimes buildings fight against other buildings, and people don't like other people. You can't go into a certain store because certain people hang out there. That's the way it is. Thank God I never had that problem because I always got along with everybody. I was always cool. My family's always been cool. We were always a cool family. No problems. Had beef here and there with people from the from Avenue, from another project or whatever, but other than that, no. Now, when these outsiders came in and tried to rush our bodegas, the multiple bodegas, and try to get into the projects and the stores and everything like that, guess what happened? Everybody from the hood was like, nope, not here. Not here. Why? Because when you're raised in an environment like that, where you don't have much, all you have is each other. And I think if they go that route where, you know, shit, man, we came through Impact Wrestling, you know what I'm saying? We didn't have shit. We weren't nobody. And then Conan left you. And then I took care of you guys, and I brought you guys to this point. Now you're making some money here in AEW. Why are you with them? They don't give a shit. Like you said, they don't give a shit about you. We came up together. We're family. It doesn't even have to be a thing of race. It can be a thing of, you know, we came up together.
But
you know what I'm
do you
saying?
mention it? Do you say stuff like,
hell
hanging
yeah,
out with these white boys?
Absolutely. I would. Would they? I don't know for sure. I don't know if Tony Khan has. Hold on. Wait, he's over here. Tony, do you have? No, I don't think Tony has the balls to do something like that, but that's realistic. It's realistic. And that story's been told so many freaking times. You can go back to old episodes of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You know what I'm saying? Where Will Smith got a job at a car gimmick, and he was making the man money. They didn't give a shit about him. They didn't give a shit about him going to school. He was gonna quit school, and the guy that owned the car place was like, "Great, quit school, work more hours for me." And Uncle Phil comes out, and he's like, "No, you're gonna quit that. You're gonna go back to school." You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the fact is that maybe it's not that Chris Jericho doesn't give a shit about them. But yeah, Eddie Kingston definitely put that in their head. And I definitely would go the whole white boy versus Latino route because it's real. It's real. It's what really fucking happens in real fucking life.
And to keep it in perspective too, Eddie could always throw in something like, you know, look at Moxley. You know, they ain't Moxley. Moxley was in the street with us. Moxley was in those barbed wire matches with us, working in bingo halls for $50.
Yep.
Moxley lives in a freaking RV outside his property. Jericho, that dude, they're over there sitting in their poolside house somewhere in Florida.
Bro.
You know, they ain't so that way, like Eddie's showing, hey, I'm not a racist. Like,
no,
but these particular guys are. You follow?
And guess what else? Guess what else, guys? Chris Jericho has been a WWE World Champion, right? Jack Swagger has been a WWE World Champion. Those two guys live a totally different life than these two guys that came up from Impact wrestling in front of 100 people. Facts.
And Moxley was also champion, but lives a completely different lifestyle.
Right. You know and he left that company because of the lifestyle they tried to make him live. Or they tried to change him and have a best friend as a fucking plant.
Yeah, but so did Jericho and Swagger. So it's
well, you know.
No, Jericho saw the writing on the wall, and Swagger, I think, was released. So
right.
A little different there.
Wall dropped on him, by the way.
A little bit, but I mean, still, like, I see what you guys are saying. Like, you can definitely create a rift here. I don't think the reason that I'm somewhat against the idea of identity politics in wrestling is because everything else in wrestling is treated so like phony that I don't think that you need to bring that level of realism. If we were still trying to protect it more, then I would say yes, definitely. Since we're blurring lines, we should go in any direction that we see fit. If you're doing just goofy, silly shit with Orange Cassidy and whatever, it's like, it's just distasteful to try to make you believe in something else being real. That's what I don't like.
But yet you have Tony Khan fucking putting over the fact that I got black friends.
That's another problem.
He's brown.
Is he?
Well, that's what he said in that post.
You know what he is? He's not brown. He's not black. He's not white. You know what he is? He's fucking gold. He's a man of money. Once you get to a certain level of money, there is no skin color, guys. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm being dead up with you guys. Once you get to a certain level of success, a certain level of money, a certain level of power, doesn't matter whether you're black, white, Latino, Arab, doesn't matter. It's all about the money. Facts.
Ray, you piqued my interest on something when you were telling that story about the Black Lives Matter George Floyd protests.
Yeah, man.
And people trying to rush the bodega. I love the fact that the community stood together and said, hell no, you ain't doing that. But you used the term outsiders. Who were these outsiders?
Anyone that doesn't live in our neighborhood. Anyone that doesn't live in our neighborhood.
Like the traveling mob,
Yeah, it was
the bandwagoneers.
What they were doing was, it was a mob, like you said, walking down the FDR Drive, and they made the big fucking mistake of getting off on South Street and start walking into the projects immediately, because people are always watching. That's another thing. People are always watching. I was watching. I knew something like this was gonna happen, bro. I never seen so many bodies thrown, tossed, bottles hit over people's heads. Yo, people, I'm not going to incriminate things that I've seen, but I saw
look like AEW backstage.
It was an AEW match. It was a hardcore match, WCW style. It was crazy, man. And yeah, I got the Iggy on people trying to go into Cozy's. It's a bodega, a big bodega on Grand Street. Nope. Because guess what? Those dudes that run it is Arab. But guess what? They're from the hood.
That's right.
And we see them every single day. We give them our money. They give us our food. So we protect ours. And it infuriated everybody, man. So guess what? Next time that they came down, they went past us because it happened again, and they went to the Brooklyn Bridge. You probably saw it on the news when they blocked the Brooklyn Bridge. A big mistake. Don't do that. And if they would have went even further down, right before the Brooklyn Bridge, and got off in those projects, they would have been in bigger trouble.
So those projects are worse. Nothing in your neighborhood ended up getting ransacked or looted.
Nope.
That's
nope.
Great.
Rite Aid, CVS, Key Food, all these places they were trying to bum rush did not get hit at all.
That's the importance of community right there, man. Like if you look at, I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but I love politics and relevant issues. If you look at all these places that were destroyed, my hometown, Richmond, Virginia, they had a lot of shit destroyed and fires and cop cars destroyed, blah, blah, blah. But if the community was as strong as yours are, everybody could have just band together and say, hey, no, I agree what you're saying. There's some bad shit going on, but you ain't fucking up my neighborhood for it.
And that's why I never understood why when people win championships, they destroy their own city. We don't do that in New York. You can say what you wanted to say about New York City. You can say what you want to say about the Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, Staten Island, so on and so forth. You can say what you want to say about New York. But one thing we don't do is we don't destroy our own community. We really don't. A lot of these people that came into our communities were from outside, straight up from people from other places. I'm not going to get into that conspiracy theory, but it's a fact. We knew it because we knew the people coming into our neighborhood were not from our neighborhood. Facts. And that infuriates me, but it's...
That you lived in Kentucky for a few years. Do you remember the rivalry between University of Louisville, U of L, and UK?
Yes.
And do you remember UK being a very good basketball team?
Yeah.
Tell you.
Yeah, like one of the best.
What year was that, guys?
This would have been 06, 07, but they were good for many years. They still are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what would happen there. Lexington, Kentucky. When fucking UK would win the championships, there'd be fucking cars set on fire and crazy shit. Like, just people getting drunk and stupid. Like, your team won. Just go toast each other. Yay. Scream in the streets. Dance. Party. Why the fuck you lighting shit on fire?
Stupid. I remember when the Yankees won the first World Series in like 20 years in 1996. I went to that first parade. I forgot how many millions of people that were there. Not one car window broken. No, not one fucking establishment burnt down. No, we just fucking celebrated our team. When the Rangers won, same thing. 86, when the Mets won, and New York was the shits back then. There were no riots. So I don't get it. But yes, to answer your question, this was a long-winded like circle. To answer your question, I don't, and Vet, I know you may be against going the whole it's too real thing, but isn't that what AEW is supposed to be? Are they supposed to be different than WWE?
All I'm saying is if wrestling promotions are going to go real, they got to go like all in. Pardon the pun.
Agree.
Like you can't have, you can't have these guys. You can't have the inner circle sitting here having like a racial divide and like touching on subjects that people really have to deal with every day and trivializing it, and then go have your fucking football field match.
Word.
Like you can't do both of those. You have to pick one. So you either get silly and wrestling's a rib and ha 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 and we're just supposed to laugh and enjoy it and it's all stupid anyways and blah blah blah, or you get dead serious with everything and then you can bring real life issues into it because you're trying to make people believe. You can't mix them.
Now, I have a question for you guys. How serious are we? Are we this serious?
I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
Or are we this serious?
And we serious like a lake period.
That one.
Okay, well, that's why I have the Vet here. That's why the Vet's on with us.
Once again, just being that vet, man. Just doing what vets do.
We got MJF. He comes out for an impromptu promo. He is pissed off. Calls out CM Punk. And he says, you know what? You want this match? You want this match? You got a match against the chairman, Sean Spears. I like this. Chris, do you like it? Do you like the fact that he ain't giving the fans what they they want it? They ain't going to get it yet. They need to crave it.
Yep, I liked it. And anytime MJF's on the mic or on screen, I'm captivated. This goes back to my point, though, why this should have been the main event. This promo should have happened immediately following the finish of Wardlow, MJF causing the distraction that caused Wardlow to lose. And then he cuts this same promo, but the whole time, like, yes, he made it sound like it was going to be him, but I would have him do a little bit more and have the crowd believe, and it's going to be the main event next week of Dynamite. Finally, Punk, you're going to get that match. You want it, you got it. It's going to be next week here, live, main event on Dynamite, blah, blah, blah. And maybe even they're face-to-face. Perhaps Wardlow had fucked off backstage because he's pissed at MJF, and maybe Punk is fucking face-to-face with MJF. Yeah, this is about to happen. He puts down the mic, outruns Spears from behind, bam, clocks him with the chair. MJF picks up the mic. Oh, and by the way, the match is against Spears. Drops the mic. Boom, we go.
Vet is smiling. Vet, do you agree?
No.
Oh,
That's just telling everybody that they don't need to tune in next week to watch Sean Spears. No offense. I love Sean Spears. That's not the point. The point is you're climbing down the ladder now. You beat Wardlow, and now you're going to Sean Spears, who's been, if anybody's been trivialized, it's Sean Spears. So in this essence, like he should have been the first step, and then Wardlow should have been the next step before we finally get the match that we want. It's also silly that MJF has so much control over booking the matches because, I thought he doesn't even make the matches. I make the matches. Tony Khan makes the matches. So, I mean, if he wanted to, that would be pretty funny if MJF just flat out refused and then the graphic comes up. Nope. Next week it's MJF versus CM Punk, or at whatever pay-per-view. It's like, you actually don't have any stroke around here. So I'm going to make the match. But it seems like a lot of people forget, despite the fact of him going on every podcast that has 100 followers and telling everybody that he makes all the matches and writes all the TV and does everything by himself, he forgets to actually put that on his show to remind everybody that he does it, because it seems like the wrestlers make all the matches there. So that's my issue with that.
Well, maybe he's paying off the power that the powers that be. He's got money too. Hey, by the way, I wanted to throw this at you guys. I know AEW doesn't have an authority figure, and William Regal has been let go by WWE, and I think Steven Regal would be a fantastic authority figure if they had one, if they needed one, which I think they need somebody to go out there and make matches, man. I'm not a big fan of authority figures, But a guy to kind of, make the call and have people storm into his office and that type of shit, I think that would be the guy. What do you guys think?
I think they should bring Regal in whatever capacity they can.
Yeah, he's great, man.
I liked best when they had presidents in wrestling, like
Jack Tunney,
like Jack Tunney.
Over.
And if you remember, Ray, you only saw Jack Tunney when some shit went down. He wasn't on TV every week. He wasn't busting. He wasn't doing promos. If you hear from Jack Tunney as a fan, you're like, oh, this is a big thing. WCW, the Crockett's, NWA, they used to do the same thing. They had a few different people in charge, but whoever it was, when they would come out, it was a big deal and you knew some shit went down.
Oh, yeah.
So I wouldn't want Regal or anyone else as an on-screen character that's out every week, that's coming out to break up fights and shit like that, kind of like he did in NXT. I would save him for the important stuff. Like I'd have Regal show up on TV once a month, like to announce the pay-per-view match or something like that.
Bet.
Yes, anything Regal. More Regal, please.
More Regal.
Whatever you want him to do. He doesn't ever have to be on camera, but you need a guy like that. If for no other reason than to stick it back to them and show them what they're missing. The blatant disrespect. You know what I mean? And we know that that's all political stuff that's going on over there. It has nothing to do with budget. It's 100% political. There's statements that they're making, but they're basically just like Jim Cornette has said, they are handing AEW whatever they're missing and whatever they need. They're gifting it to them. So take the gift. Yeah. Take it.
I agree. 1,000%.
I think it'd also be funny. I don't know what kind of health he's in, but I think it'd also be funny to give Bill Watts that job. Like if anybody that knows the history of Bill Watts and like him coming into WCW, gutting contracts, telling motherfuckers, nope, you ain't doing this, you ain't doing that. Oh, you're getting $300,000 a year. It's now 150. Boom, boom. Like just imagine him walking on screen one day, like as some stupid segments happening in the basketball match or something. Nope, that's it. You guys, all of you, fucking out of the ring. No, we're not doing this. Oh, and what's that little fucker's name with the scarf? Yeah, you're fighting CM Punk, and it's going to be on the pay-per-view next month.
Have Bill Watts go as far as going.
Wouldn't that be fucking cool though?
Yes.
Bill Watts.
Well, check this out. Have Bill Watts go to the ring, right, and say, remove those mats around the ring. We're men, right? and then on top of that, the very first match, if you get tossed over the top rope, it's a disqualification.
Yep. Just and then you know how everybody like on wrestling shows is always like pulling up in a limo like 45 minutes into the show. Well, Bill Watts is standing right there like, yeah, I'll collect that fine right now.
Yep.
Go write the cash or check.
The ledger.
Cash it. And he has an old school like a black book writing shit in it. That would be fantastic. God damn it. They pay people to write that show? I'm just wondering.
Tony, if you're listening, my friend, I dig your product. I've been watching it and reviewing it since day one. Think about it.
The Stooges are out there, brother.
I know you like Bill Watts, Tony Khan. I think there's something there.
Bill Watts or somebody like Bill Watts. And I think William Regal or Steven Regal, who'll probably be known on as in any other company, that would be a guy to do that. And he's believable, man. He can get over. And on top of that, the guy's a shooter, man. He's tough. People know he's tough.
Dude, have you guys ever met Regal?
Yes.
I haven't had the chance of meeting Regal.
I've had the pleasure of working with him, talking to him, getting advice. Very, very astute man, a wealth of knowledge.
Great. The first time that I met this man, first of all, he's huge. I don't know if it comes across on TV like exactly how big this man is, but he's every bit of 6'3" or 4. So right off the bat, but I shook his hand and he was polite as could be or whatever, but there was like an aura because he happened to be standing with Finley and Dave Taylor at the time, and they were just having a nice little chat. And I felt like a gazelle just walking up willingly to a lion's den because even though they were all very nice and everything, you could feel the toughness emanating from those guys. Because they weren't acting tough. They were just hanging out. But you somehow, like, that must be what it feels like to be prey. Wow. So, maybe he can teach these guys a few things about being men. Maybe he can help Dante Martin grow into a nice young man,
I felt that. Go ahead.
Here's a little pro tip. If you're a tough guy, you don't act tough.
That's it. Just be you.
if you're cool, you don't tell people you're cool. It's one of those things, you got it or you don't.
Right, exactly. That's why I tell people I suck all the time. Anyway, it's kind of like I know what you're saying with like walking into the den, because I remember I was about 22 years old and I had walked into a club. There was a lot of older women there. Oof.
That's a different big cat, Ray.
Oh, sorry.
What was holy shit? What was that club? There was one in Louisville that the boys would go to that was notorious for older women. I only went once, but this was like the Cougar Club. Like if you went to this bar, you were gonna hook up with the 40 and up range. And I think I went with like Lennox Lightfoot's.
Yeah, you definitely did. If you wanted older women, you went with Lennox.
Well, I was just intrigued. Like I was like, okay, this sounds interesting.
Sure.
I can't remember the name of that place, but
I have no idea. I did not partake of the Louisville nightlife, but I just remember people saying they were going to 4th Street. They just said 4th Street you know what I mean? And there's a ton of stuff on 4th Street. So I don't remember the name of the bar. If someone knows it, I might recognize it hearing it, but I couldn't for the life of me produce it.
You're not much of a partier, are you, Jamie?
I am not. I don't know if that ingratiated me with the boys any, but it was nothing personal. It's just not what I was there to do. I didn't uproot my entire life and move across the country to go to a shitty fucking bar in the South. Right. That's for damn sure.
Are you straight edge? Are you a casual drinker? Are you
yes.
just don't care for those kind of things?
Straight edge. I mean, I don't have a t-shirt about it or anything. Yeah. That's just that's just the name that people have given it. You know what I mean? But yeah.
You ever had a smoke before?
No, sir.
You ever had a puff of weed before?
No, sir.
By the way, we've had this conversation on NXT. On
yes,
level.
I am. Yes, I have consumed alcohol and never been drunk, and I don't inhale smoke into my lungs or of any form. No.
Have you ever been with a cougar?
Good question.
No, but she was older. Not too older though.
How much older?
6 years.
That's not bad.
What about you?
No, but it's just enough. It's just enough of a gap where time. You know what I mean? Like you had life experience differences. You know what I mean? Like the difference between, say, 40 and 46. It's something. But like when you're talking about like 25 and 31, you're kind of in different places. Sure.
Let me ask you, Ray, what's without getting you any heat at home?
No heat. Ain't no heat. Jen knows I was a whore.
What's the oldest? Listen. Like you don't necessarily have to say the age gap, but you can just say the age. What's the oldest that you have
well, I'll make this short and sweet. I actually had this person as a guest on me and Colin's show, the Ridiculously Random Podcast.
Which re-debuts in February.
Yeah, I'm gonna play that promo before we go. But check it out. So long story short, we called her Mrs. I or Mrs. E. We called her Mrs. E. And I remember I told you I was thrown out of school.
Yes.
Okay. So I went to an alternative high school, which is a legit high school. It's not a to get your GED or anything. It's a high school for people that had problems that
for bad kids. Yeah.
For the bad kids. And thank God I went to that school. It helped me out a lot. But also, I was 18 in that school as a junior. Now think about that, because I had taken time off of school, and I actually I was legal, and I was together with a wonderful 35-year-old teacher. 35-year-old teacher, and we had a friendship in a very intimate relationship. She taught me a lot. And to be honest with you, man, she's still a friend to this day, and she still looks phenomenal. And we actually had her without showing her. Colin knows who she is, and we told our story on the podcast. And also, I banged my friend David's mom. And I was a little younger, and she was probably pushing late 30s. So I always liked older women. Actually, my first marriage, she's older than me. Jennifer is one of the very few women that's younger. Like my wife now, she's a year younger than me. But I've always liked older women. I like conversation. I like the fact that they know a lot.
What they're doing.
Yeah, man. It's a big difference, man. And the funny thing is that when you're 17 You think 40 is like mad old?
Mhm.
Oh, now look at it. Like 40-year-old women. I'm gonna be fucking 46 in March, so it's like wow. But yeah, man. So
I slightly edge out both of you guys on there.
you had to pull the diaper to the side a little bit.
These would have these encounters would have been in my early 20s, and there's two that I could think of. I want to say ages 43 and 46.
Oh, 46. I had a 46 for 45.
But just like in pro
wrestling,
man, you learn from the veterans.
Yes, you do.
You're always, you got to be in the ring with somebody better than you to get better. You got to learn new styles. So
listen, I didn't know how to do.
Thank you to them for the lessons.
I didn't know how to do a real spinning toe hold until I met Mrs. I.
There you go.
We're gonna run through some of this stuff really quickly.
Oh Jesus!
Oh, Jesus is you don't want to hear
the truth is, guys, is like I love Dynamite. This was somewhat of a lackluster show, so we're filling in with some entertaining content in between.
Yeah, no shit. So we're gonna speed through some of this. We have Adam Cole, the Young Bucks, Red Dragon. They cut a promo backstage with Dr. Britt Baker. Then they do the whole gimmick where hey, cut and everything like that. Anything you want to add?
That was cute how they did the Cutler lines, calling him Landon and Butler.
Yeah, what about you?
Actually, I do got to put that over. That was hilarious at the end when Britt called him Butler and he said, "My name's Cutler," and I think all of them like piped up and was like, "Shut up, shut up."
Yeah.
And one of them said, "I'll kick your ass." So that was just funny.
Anything there, Vet?
No, this is one of the few uninterrupted scenes. Okay. No one interrupted this, but it is very nice of them for Tony to let these guys just go directly into the Dynamite feed with Cutler taping. So
the most uninteresting world heavyweight champion comes to the ring, in my opinion. Had Hangman Adam Page. He comes to the ring, and he's confronted by Dan Lambert, who cuts a promo and basically shoots on him, and everything that Dan Lambert said is, I think, what a lot of wrestling fans think. I'll go with you, Vet. Did you like that promo by Dan Lambert before we get into who comes in the ring and attacks the champ?
I'm kind of over the whole Dan Lambert thing too.
Wow, like really?
I think that again, another great guy that could have been used so much better from the beginning. But he comes out and you're right though. I mean, he's saying what a lot of people are thinking, but again, the question is like, well, why does this guy always get TV time and right. promote? This. If he hates AEW, what is he doing there? And why is Tony's just such a nice man. If you ever doubted the kindness of his heart, he'll give anybody a platform to bury his product. It's just beautiful. And then of course you got fucking Woody from Toy Story in the ring is just sitting there taking it. So, I mean,
he was dressed like a 6-year-old who just wanted to go to school as a cowboy. That's right. Legit. That's a shoot right there, man.
His cowboyness has been called into question other places, and maybe that inspired Dan Lambert and what he was saying here.
Hey, Vet, I could tell by Chris Silvio's body language that he may disagree with us. Am I right, Chris?
Yes.
Shit.
Correct.
Called it.
So, Adam, first off, y'all go easy on my boy Hangman Page. He's a fellow Virginian, and I am not a cowboy. Okay. I'm a Southern boy, but I'm not a country boy. I'm not a cowboy. Where I went to school, 15 minutes away, was the country. Mm-hmm. Those were where the deer hunters were, where some people ran family farms, where people rode horses, blah, 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 blah. So I had a lot of friends. We would refer to them as rednecks affectionately, but I had a lot of friends that were rednecks that, lived the rural life and farmed and did all that stuff. And I was a suburban kid, but I got along with everybody, much like you and your community, right? I was friends with everyone. I don't care where you're from. If you're the hood or the country, if you're good people, then I'm cool with you. So I can attest to where he lived in rural Virginia. There is a very, very good chance that was the life that he led. He claimed something about a cattle farm, which is absolutely possible. Out there in the sticks of Virginia, it's country living, well water, all that shit. So I don't think he would go as as in on this cowboy stuff as he has if it didn't resonate with him. If it was all fake, I don't think he would have chosen that as his thing. He would have been like, the showcase Adam Page or Mr. Hollywood Adam. He would have come up with something else that was a little more up his alley. What I don't like about Page, unfortunately, they booked him in all kinds of wacky shit, especially the Dark Order stuff, instead of giving him big wins all the time. What I don't like about Page is as he's coming into his own as the champion and trying to figure out his voice, he's too soft-spoken some of the time. So Lambert gave him a couple quips, and then he started turning around, and he got a little bass in his voice. It was something like, and if wrangling 100 cattle's on a blah, 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 on a dairy farm ain't cowboy enough for you, well, how about I stick this 12-inch Stetson boot up your ass? That came out feeling tough. That was cowboy shit. But in a lot of his promos, he either begins the promo or speaks the majority of the promo in a more relaxed I don't want to say meek, but it's certainly not tough. And there are times in promos for ranges. You're not going to shout the whole time. There are peaks and valleys. But Hangman, I want to see you bring out the badass to you every time you're out there. Even if you're not yelling, ranting, and raving, be a badass, because he is a badass dude. He's a country boy. He's a farm boy. He's a tough son of a bitch. He's a good wrestler. He lifts. Like, I'm sure if he was in a fight, he would be okay. I'm not saying he's fucking Oscar De La Hoya, but I'm sure he could take care of himself. Like, don't think too much about what you sound like and what I'm going to say in my promo. Just fucking be you and be as badass as possible. I recommend he watch a lot of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Shit, I don't disagree with you, man.
Well, thank you.
I still don't find him interesting. And
what if he is being himself?
Right.
Then you got to turn it up. So like, Jamie, you've seen me personally, like, backstage in the locker rooms and class and stuff. Like, would you say that there's a distinct difference between Chris Osterfeld, the guy you're just talking to conversationally, and Chris Silvio, the performer?
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely.
The performer is still me, but this version of me is fun on like podcasts and interviews. And even I turn it up here, but the normal me is not going to be interesting to the masses on TV. So I take who I am and what I am, and I understand that I have to jazz it up and turn the dial up on it. That's all he has to do. I believe he's being himself, but there comes a time where, yes, you're yourself, but you have to understand that a camera's on and you're in front of national TV. So you got to give it a little something extra.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I think everybody does that a little bit. Like, even me, I turn myself up just a touch. But anybody that knows me personally, like Billy Ray Valentine knows me for 25 years. And am I crazy like this? A little bit. Like 70. I'm like, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I feel what you're saying. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't find him interesting. Do I think he's a good wrestler? Hell fucking yes. Do I think he has a good look? Absolutely. Think he needs to change his wardrobe? I'm serious. The way he looks on screen is silly to me. With the little kid T-shirt and the fucking doesn't work for me.
Well,
bro.
he usually doesn't look like that.
Well, I've seen him a few times. Oh no, hold on.
I don't know why he chose this night to.
Hold on. I've seen him a few times come to the ring, and I'm like, why is he? What is that cowboy shit?
That's how people Southerners dress. Like, I actually have some similar shirts.
Okay.
To that, and I have a couple pairs of cowboy boots.
Chris, you don't? Do you wear a leather vest over your T-shirt? Be honest.
I have. Yeah.
Oh wow, Chris, we have to talk after this, my friend.
I make it look good though, bro. And to your comment, about Lambert Vet, I agree with you. Just, he's kind of marginalized, like a lot of guys we've seen come across. But I think he brings great value. He's tremendous. All you got to do is put him with the top guy. Like, let's just say he became the mouthpiece for FTR, who's a traditional wrestling tag team. Mm-hmm. And they were pushed as top guys and were tag team champions, much like Cornette and the Midnight Express. Something like that would work. If he had a heel like Miro, who's not the AEW style guy, and he did his Lambert stuff, shitting on the dives and blah, 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 and all we're going to do is punch and kick you and tap you out. Like, if you put him with top guys, he will get over. The reason why I think it's kind of at a plateau is they stuck him with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, who are great performers, both of them, but they've never been pushed as stars or attractions. So that brings down his stock. If you want to be seen as a star and attraction, you got to be in with the stars and attraction.
Well, here's the deal. They have him, and I think eventually they're going to make him maybe the mouthpiece of the Bobby the Brain Heenan to this monster. As yeah, man, you got Lance Archer comes out and he obliterates the champ. God damn, Lance Archer is big. He looks so fucking intimidating. Remember how Hulk Hogan used to always have challengers for his title, and they always came in looking fucking like they could beat him. Like this guy might have a King Kong Bundy might have a chance to beat him. Earthquake might have a chance to beat him. Kamala, all these guys, very intimidating. This guy looks great. And Lance Archer, also a friend of us here at Hamin Media, because he's a Star Trek geek, just like we are. So he's been on our Star Trek podcast with Triple D and John Enright a bunch of times. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Do you think perhaps Dan Lambert could help get this guy to a level he doesn't have to talk? Dan Lambert could talk for him. What do you think?
That you take this one.
Well, where's Jake? My first question, because you already had that guy for that.
Jake something?
So,
Jake something?
No, the Jake.
Oh, Snake Roberts.
I have that answer, by the way.
Okay, go ahead.
When you're done.
Because I really don't know. I don't always keep up with the stuff. But where's Jake Roberts at?
Jake has been at home due to the COVID stuff. He's got some kind of immunocompromised issues. So the decision between himself and the company had him sitting at home for a while, I guess, during this recent surge. And while sitting at home, quarantining himself, he also contracted COVID. And that was probably a week or two ago. So
how?
I imagine fucking you go to the grocery store, bro.
That's true.
Shit's everywhere. It's all over the
I get you. Right.
So that's why we have not seen Jake. But go ahead.
Okay. But yeah, the point was more so about like, okay, well, he had a mouthpiece and now we're going to trade it for another mouthpiece, but he already beat up this mouthpiece. That was one of the things that he kind of did. And it was sort of referenced here, like not so much that he was coming out for Dan Lambert's sake, but more so to just get at Adam Page, right? So, and I actually like that. One of the smartest things on this entire show is when he grabs up Dan Lambert and he's like, "What are you doing? The world champion's right there. This is your chance. This is your chance."
Smart.
Basically saying like, "What? Why me? What am I going to get you? This is the champ." So then he does. He goes after the champ. I don't know if Dan Lambert convinced him or if that was the plan all along.
Right.
But in any case, yes, he gives Adam Page the blackout, very scary blackout on the chair. I was really watching Adam like, you better get over. Okay, he got over, but barely. It scared me. So here we are. But here's the issue here. We already know where this is going. We already talked about this with Eddie Kingston. Lance Archer is essentially Eddie Kingston. Never has a significant win. Only there just so guys like Cody and them can go over on somebody. So now he's put up in this thing to look like a menace. So yeah, now if Ray is tuning in for the first time, sees a giant man looking like Lance Archer, like, man, this guy must be somebody. Never mind all those losses he took to all those other guys that he should have beat. It looks like somebody, but the people who have been watching the whole time know. They're like, well, this is just so Adam Page can get a strong win. And then it takes the mystery out of it. It takes the intrigue out of it. We already know what's happening for Lance Archer. This has been happening to him his entire career. So,
they did get him. Didn't they get him over in New Japan?
No, absolutely not.
Wait, no. Didn't he win the U.S. title over there? Something
he did, but that was for like a couple of weeks until they gave it to somebody else.
I know, Vet. What I'm saying is, it was totally unexpected. Nobody thought he was going to win. It was kind of a big deal when he did, wasn't it?
Right, yeah, but that's the thing.
It, and then he won it back on AEW TV at some point, I believe, like in his hometown.
It was a transitional deal that they put the U.S. championship on him. And it was like, but if you ever followed New Japan, the reason it was a surprise is because he never wins anything. So don't really know what the deal is there, but that's just me though, because I'm watching everything. I don't know if people dip in and out. Maybe they're just intrigued, like, okay, Lance Archer versus Hangman. I'm not sure exactly why you would, but, maybe that's what they're thinking there. But it's kind of like we already know how this one's going to end. It's not going to end with Lance Archer raising the AEW championship over his head, for sure.
Vet, real quick. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
So there's good and bad to this. Like Ray, you mentioned Hogan, these monsters. Like, let's say Earthquake, for example.
Perfect example.
We knew that Earthquake is big and dangerous, and he could probably hurt Hogan. But in your heart of hearts, did you ever believe Earthquake was going to beat Hogan?
King Kong Bundy, I thought, had a chance. Andre the Giant. Who else?
What about Earthquake?
When I was a kid, so yeah, I was always scared. I was always scared that Hulk Hogan would lose his belt to these, But again, this is through the eyes of a 9-year-old or 10-year-old.
Sure.
So, but now as an adult, unfortunately, and what I love about, I have to give my father props, because my father, again, being a worker in wrestling and everything, he knew who was going to win or lose, but he made me believe that Hulk Hogan could lose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So for me, go ahead, Ray.
No, I was going to say that he would throw out like Killer Bees aren't going to win the titles. You know what I'm saying? Like he would, I would put that. They're so good.
They're going to put the mask on, and then you won't know who's who.
And my father was like, Pops, they're not. I don't think they're going to win the belts. He would do it, but for Hulk Hogan, it would be different. He would scare the shit out of me, and I would believe it. So
after a while, as a viewer, I began to recognize the pattern. So like Bundy and Andre, it's like, oh shit, this is a challenge. Right. But once I see all these guys come in and Hogan beats them, I kind of recognize the pattern. Like, he ain't going to get beat. So when Warrior beat him, it was a huge deal. Circling back to what we're doing here and Dan Lambert, the smart thing that they did is I like AEW's attempts to have continuity. So why was Dan Lambert in this segment? The only reason he was in this segment was because he had that interaction with Lance Archer, where Archer gave him that move that one time on TV. And then he went after Hangman. So I like the fact that they tried to do a callback to that. And I think Archer is the perfect opponent to give Hangman a strong, credible win. He's big, he's nasty. Like Ray said, he looks like a fucking ass kicker. Even if the fans don't think he's going to win, some will be able to spend enough disbelief that he might. But either way, it's a good win for Hangman. What I didn't like, though, was Hangman getting nothing in and getting just laid the fuck out. If this were done like post-match, that would have been cool. Like last week after he had that big match with Danielson and he won, let's do it there. Have Lambert come out, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you think you're a cowboy, you're a champion, blah, blah, blah. Then out comes Archer and fucking throws him through the chair after he'd already been beat up. I think it just makes Hangman look a little weak, because first title defense, he goes to a 60-minute draw. Second title defense, he wins clean after like 30 minutes. Third week as champion, he gets no moves and gets thrown through a thing by Lance Archer, who we haven't seen in months. So that was kind of the bad of that. There was some good in it, but that part.
Who else did they? What other person comes to your mind? Because right away, somebody comes to my mind. World Heavyweight Champion. People were so happy for him to become World Heavyweight Champion and was booked the exact same way. Give me a name, guys.
Kofi, Big E.
Older. Vet.
I don't know where you're going with it.
No, just look back at the Macho Man's run.
His first run?
Yeah. Look back at his very first run. He got the shit beat out of him a lot. And he wasn't made. Remember, he just came off of Hulk Hogan's run. And he was a small guy, even though.
Well, okay, but Hulk Hogan got the shit beat out of him all the time. He just won at the end, and so did Macho Man for an entire year.
Yeah, they put Savage over, though. At least he was beaten.
But I'm saying with the attacks and all that shit, that happened to Macho Man a lot. Hello, Jake, this nigga Roberts.
But Macho was a much tougher character, like how we were talking about with Hangman, turning up that toughness and badass. You still knew Macho was a badass, and he's a psychopath. Even if he got his ass whooped by Hakeem last week, when he's doing the promo this week, you're like, oh fuck, Randy Savage is going to kill him, or at least trying to.
I want to do the Hakeem.
You also know that Savage is smart enough to realize that he's got to make these guys to make himself. You know, that's the whole thing. So that's kind of like just my issue when we're looking at. You brought up Earthquake. That's not as good of an example, only because Earthquake didn't do jobs for 2 years before he got in a program with Hogan. That's the difference. He came in, boom, it was like, who's this guy? You know, unless you were following sumo in Japan back in the 80s, you probably never seen him before. So that was like, at least in that sense, it was intriguing because he was new. And then looking at Wardlow, looking at what the spot he was in tonight, how much more impactful would this be if Wardlow has never lost a match up to this point?
Right.
How much more impactful would this Lance Archer thing be if he had never lost a match up to this point? You could have just not booked him in those matches to lose. You could have just only had him on these undefeated streaks or whatever. And then when these moments come up, now he's got a championship match. Now Wardlow's versus the undefeated CM Punk. Somebody's got to come away defeated. You know, that means so much more. So even though, you know, they like to pat themselves on the back about the long-term booking in AEW, the fans and Tony will both like to do it, but like they're still like short-sighted in a lot of ways because they're mortgaging the future for right now, and then they try to rebuild everybody. And maybe your audience has already lost interest and moved on, and now they're not going to be around for the rebuild. That's the fear.
We've talked about this in previous episodes, and I've called it out. There are a lot of matches that were booked that should not have been booked because nobody wins in the end. An example, I remember when the Cody and Archer thing happened. Yep. That was not the time. The match just should have not been booked. Like, Cody couldn't lose at that point because he was establishing that belt, and Archer shouldn't lose because he's a threat. So don't put them together. I thought the same thing with Moxley when they did the Archer program with Moxley. If Archer's there to lose, don't put them together. And if Moxley beats him, well, Cody's already beat him, so what's it matter? You know, so there's some matches that are just better left untouched. And if that had been done, to your point, Vet, if he'd have just come in now and then gave him that power bomb to Page through the chair, people would be like, holy shit. Fucking Archer? Oh my God, how's he gonna beat this guy?
Mm-hmm. So, and just to put a button on the whole thing, it's just so unfortunate because I understand why they had to do that then. When AEW is a brand new company just trying to get off the ground, they kind of do have to hotshot everything. And I'm sure that Tony was afraid that he had to make sure that he held people's attention every second. He couldn't afford to lose a single person's attention. Unfortunately, sometimes hotshotting has that exact effect when you become desensitized to seeing the same things over and over. I know it's kind of like the lesser of two evils, I guess. You run the risk of just being a little bit boring or whatever and having people not be interested, or you run the risk of hotshotting and having people see everything too early and then becoming disinterested. So I understand why he did what he did, but I'm just saying that there's another way, and hopefully it's not too late. AEW's doing fine. He's got bottomless pockets. They can course correct. And I really want them to, because it's just like they've got all the toys to play with. Look, you're an avid action figure collector, Silvio. You see all that in there, you know? You like those right where they are, like nice and neat. I bet you have them just like you like them. You don't have them on the floor. They're not in the bathroom or whatever. They're not in the cupboard in the kitchen. You know, you've got your stuff all organized just how you like it. But AEW is just like the whole toy box is emptied all over the floor, and you know, his parents aren't home to tell him to put his toys away.
My question is, once you get married, Chris, are those things going in a storage room?
Nope.
Just wondering.
I actually getting her started on her own action figure.
Fuck you, fucking brilliant man.
She's keeping them in packages, so I think now we're at like 4. She's got them in her office, and now Jenna's a professional, not just wrestler, but she works in corporate America, has a very good corporate job. And in her office, like her background for her conference calls has like her diplomas and nice stuff. But right to the side, she's got a wrestling poster, and then the back is the wrestling section.
That's awesome. And you know,
professional robot.
Yeah, she is.
Just want to pay tribute to the greatest. Can you do the dance? Do you remember how to do the African Dream dance? Go ahead, Vet. Come on.
Oh yeah, you gotta do like one of these.
That is like one of my favorite all-time WWF themes. Slick. Oof.
I like that game.
So did I. I thought it was fucking. That would never get over now. But how fucking it's cultural appropriation.
Like, what a silly gimmick in every way possible.
Went over.
But,
got over.
But I liked it. Go back sometime, boys, on YouTube or Daily Motion, and find the vignette introducing
with the garbage can on fire.
With
I remember
Slick,
that.
they're outside in like the ghetto.
Oh, great! It's so fucking great, guys. God, the golden age of wrestling. All right, so listen, Vet. Do you have the notes?
I did not take any notes.
I got him.
No, this is because Vet is the professional. Because we're 2 hours into this fucker, and Vet is the professional at kind of speeding shit along.
Yep, let's do it.
But I'm gonna try to do my Vet. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Tully Blanchard, FTR in the background. They cut a shitty promo against each other. They're going to be fighting each other. Them and the other guys. Cool, done. Now we have the two ladies in the ring. We have Hirokuda. Why did he say it? Hirokuda Shida.
Oh, she never got to the ring, brother.
Hirokuda Shida versus Serena Deeb. She gets her fucking leg smashed from behind. She wrestles lame during the entire match. Serena Deeb goes over here with the Serenity Lock. Anything about this, guys?
Yes. Deeb is awesome. I love the fact that this is something that I learned from Al Snow, is that not every single match has to have the same structure of shine, heat, come back, finish, blah, blah, blah. You could do your matches any way you want. So what I loved about this one was it was one-sided. The heel came out and jumped her from behind, beat up her leg. She'd got no offense. And then Serena put her in her submission, and the referee stopped the match because she just said she wouldn't tap. Beautiful. Well done. It told the story. And like, you could be like, oh, she squashed her. No, she didn't squash her. She came in, did a dick move, hit her from behind with a weapon, beat up her knee, and then the ref stopped the match. So Shida is not hurt at all by this loss. It's not like they tied up, Serena powerbombed her 4 times, suplexed her in 1. She did something underhanded. She exploited a weakness that she's been building for months. So I thought it was really cool. I actually texted Serena about it, and I'm going to chat with her a little bit later on some ideas on maybe how we could make it even more nasty. But yeah, very well done. I'm glad she's getting the TV time. And it was announced she's going to be against Sky Blue next week on Dynamite, which means 2 TV matches in a row for Serena Deeb, which hopefully means AEW is coming to their senses and realizing what a talent they have. And hopefully she'll be popping up in television a lot more and should be in the main event picture.
Hey Vet, real quick, if I was creating a wrestler in the new WWE 2K22 and it was a female wrestler, it'll look a lot like Serena Deeb, and it'll have her movesets. I really like her a lot. What do you think?
Well, you'd probably make it all the way to the end of the career mode, no problem if you did that. Yeah, no, come on, no notes for Serena. She's the best. Everything they did here was good. It is interesting because here we learned that yes, they do stop matches. So that's where, if Serena Deeb had gave her 4 power bombs or whatever, she would have been in danger of getting small package. So it's a good thing she went with the real dastardly attack from behind. That's where, and then the other kind of nitpick I have about the again, this is nothing on the talents involved. What it is about just the presentation and the booking of the whole thing, which is where. Here's where you send out a fleet of referees and other people and even some of the female wrestlers to go out there and what the hell's wrong with you, man? Type of stuff. Like, again, this is just another Wednesday night. This happened 5 times on this show alone where people are getting just beaten into oblivion and no one ever comes out to help. So it's the consistency thing that I was talking about. That's what kind of hurts it a little bit. It works here. It should have happened here. Everything played out exactly as it should have here. But it doesn't play out that way for everybody else who's, in jeopardy and helpless and stuff like that. So come on, get it together.
Yeah, man. Let's move on real quick. We have Matt Hardy versus Penta El Cero Miedo. Ugh. And they start off with a delete Cero Miedo chant competition between the two. Nobody goes over there. Listen, man, Matt Hardy goes to the top, misses a moonsault. Penta hits the Fear Factor for the win. This is what I'm going to say about this match. It bothers me to watch Matt Hardy in a ring. Matt Hardy runs the ropes like... Do you remember King of the Hill? You ever watch
Yeah,
that? Remember what was the grandfather?
Cotton.
Cotton, right? With the stiff legs, so that his legs were cut.
Hmm.
That's the way he runs, and I'm not making fun of the guy. It's just I can't imagine having such a long career, a lot of money, and still wanting to take these bumps, man. Like Matt Hardy can barely move his legs. He has to get up using his arms from a seated position. It's really awkward and weird, and I wish he would stop. I really do. I wish he would just be the manager or just, I don't know. That's just my feeling. Like, I like Matt Hardy a lot. I've always liked the Hardy Boys, and it makes me sad. It's crazy, right? It makes me sad seeing him in the ring like this. It's the passion, it's the disease of professional wrestling. One guy who I know who didn't succumb to the disease is the Vet. Vet, what do you think, man? Could you see yourself wrestling for 30 years and just not being able to walk?
I didn't even really make it 3 years, so certainly not. But yeah, enough about me. I agree with what you're saying about Matt Hardy. It's sad to look at him. It's embarrassing, actually. He's out there. He's like, bald and gray and fat and crippled, and he doesn't need to be doing this when he's got an entire faction, which is the whole point of him, is in character, and maybe even as a shoot, he's trying to get them over. So why he had to have this match with Penta instead of like a Mark Quinn or something, I have no idea. But if I want to say, I feel like I'm only negative here. So what I really want to say is just how much I've always been a fan of Penta himself.
I like him.
He is one of my favorites. Like, as far as like, if I was drafting my own promotion and I needed to fill every spot on the card that I needed to, one of the first luchadors that I would turn to is Penta. I've been a fan of him ever since Lucha Underground, where he showed he's really a star. I actually think that everything with his brother and the Lucha Bros and stuff has caused people not to realize that he's a main event level talent. They probably think of him as like, oh, he's just that tag team guy with the flippy guy. And he doesn't really do that many flips if you really watch his matches. He may every once in a while do a tope, but not, usually for big matches only. He's much more of a brawler, and he can work with anybody and have any type of match that they need to have. So if you had him under your, purview, and you can tell him what you need from him, he will give it to you. And, you know what I mean? So I'll ignore the fact that as Matt Hardy was climbing for the moonsault, he was just scooching himself into position gently, only to move anyway. I'll forgive him that, and I'll just continue to sing the praises of Mr. Penta El Cerro Miedo.
I think it depends on who you're talking to, Vet, because I agree with you on Penta, and I do see Penta as a main eventer. And I think you could be right that some fans are like, oh, he's a tag team guy. But I think there are a lot of fans, especially the educated fans, that realize what he is. I also think Phoenix is a main eventer. If I were booking AEW, at some point, I would make Rey Fenix our Rey Mysterio. I'd sell his mask, and at some
100%.
point, he'd win the big one. Great fucking talent, and everybody likes him. For the match itself, it kind of put together oddly. Like, yeah, they told a little bit of a backstory, but I wasn't quite. It felt like a cold match to me. But I got to give Matt Hardy nothing but props because he's working his fucking ass off.
Right.
Ray made some comments about his health that, clearly he's ailing. But what I can respect just as a wrestler, somebody that grinded for 20 years in the ring, I can respect the fuck out of him at 45 that he's like, nope, I ain't half-assing. That's the mentality you got. Like, when you're in this shit, whether there's 10 people or 10,000, if you really have passion in what you're doing, you're like, I'm not going to half-ass. I'm going to bump. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Why I think this was good for Penta is because Matt Hardy slowed him down. Penta had a huge learning experience last night, just being in the ring with Matt Hardy. A guy with that experience in the American style of pro wrestling, even if this was Matt Hardy in his prime, he still would have worked a slower pace. Go back and watch old Hardy Boys. Yeah, they did high spots and shit, but they were never flying frantic pace. So I think this was a good learning matchup for Penta to be in there with someone like him.
Can I just? I want to just throw it. I get what you're saying, and it's not a thing. And I do not want to come off as if I'm disrespecting Matt Hardy. It genuinely bothered me. And this is why. Okay. I am extremely passionate about playing baseball. So much so that 10 years ago, I even joined a fast pitch softball league. I had been playing competitive baseball since I was 4 fucking years old, right? Love playing baseball. And we played in these real, like, very good competitive leagues. About 2 years ago, I kept getting injured and injured and injured and injured. My knees were blowing up on me, my back. Bro, to a point that I just said, I'm done. So at the age of 44, I realized that I just can't do it no more. I can't play baseball no more the way I was. Can I still hit? Yep. But I can't fucking run the bases anymore like I used to. I could lose 100 pounds. And it's just my body is so beat up from playing high school football, high school basketball, from boxing, from wrestling, from all the shit I did when I was a kid, growing up. My body's just done. And it's just seeing somebody like that I have so much respect for in the ring. And I'm just afraid that when you can't, here's the deal, when you can't protect yourself, when it gets to a point that you can't protect yourself, you can get really fucking hurt to a point that and I don't want to see that story of Matt Hardy in a wheelchair.
Sure.
That's what it is, man. That's all it is. It's not.
I can respect that, right?
You feel me, bro?
And yeah, no, I can respect that, and I think a lot of fans share similar sentiment to you on that. I do think Matt is smart enough. Trust me, nobody understands better than Matt Hardy right now that he has limited time. So I trust in the fact, and knowing his wife, who's very outspoken, and Hardy is a family man. I trust in the fact that he knows his time is winding down, and when Matt can honestly say to himself, "Hey, I can't do this anymore," I have confidence he'll bow out.
I really have to address this in the chat. I know baseball and softball are two different things, but when you can't play competitive hardball no more, you get where the getting's good. And fast pitch softball, brother, when you can go from north to south and the guys are throwing like 65 from less than 30 feet away, it ain't easy. And you got some guys with movement and some girls that can throw the fucking ball. We were playing mixed leagues towards the end. You had some girls that could fucking go. So shut up. It's fucking baseball, and I couldn't do it no more, right? I'm done.
But the big part of this was our post-match business. What the hell happened?
What happened at the end? Anybody? What did I miss?
So after the match, we have the lights go out.
Right.
And inside the ring is Malachi Black whooping some ass, putting the boots to Penna. Then out come the Blondes, the varsity Blondes for the save. And then we get another lights out and enter Ring of Honor's Brody King.
I don't know who that is, by the way.
Looking big and vicious. Former Ring of Honor star. I believe he's very well traveled. I believe he may have done some time in Japan as well. That would probably know that. But they are a unit now. I believe they had teamed at some point. They were putting the boots to all of our baby faces. Brody King looked nasty, did a cannonball in the corner with his big ass, and then they did a pretty cool looking move where Black did like a vertical suplex and threw the opponent into Brody King, who delivered a power slam a la Davey Boy Smith. So this is an interesting pairing, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes.
Yeah, man, that did happen. And again, I didn't know who Brody King was. I do not watch ROH, and Vet knows I do not watch any New Japan Pro Wrestling. But I will tell you this: I knew who he was after.
Did he pass the tough guy test?
To me, if I'm watching remember I told you I'm watching it for the very first time, I was like, oh wow, that's a fucking big bastard. Look at those tattoos. Holy shit, that guy's fast for his size. Looks strong. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm like, all right, that's somebody. And you have anything to add, Vet?
Not much. Just Brody King can fucking go. Like he can go. He can move, like you said. He doesn't look like much physically, like as far as the Florida water stuff. But I mean, he that doesn't matter. He's he can do what you need to do. But here's the thing: now he's made his impact. He's made his debut. Now let's see if he doesn't end up like a Lance Archer or Wardlow or whatever down the line, because he is new to most people now. So, so we'll see. The only other minor note that I have that I remember, because I didn't take the copious notes this time, was when Malachi shows up after the lights go out, which I'm also sick of, by the way. Not just because if it was only him that did it, right, but everybody does it. The lights go out for lots of different people that aren't Malachi Black, so don't like that. But anyways, when he showed up, he attacked Alex first while there's like a healthy, ready Penta just standing right there watching him. So he should have nailed, I say nailed the able-bodied wrestler first and then the other guy. Just a little minor nitpick.
All right, so speaking about big bears, we're going to move on to this match. And before we do this,
Oh boy,
Silvio, spit some bars, yo.
Got the vet here on Light the Fuse. Me and Big Ray are some badass dudes. This episode you didn't get the news, but fuck all y'all, I ain't got shit to prove. Light that fuse.
oh shit,
Oh, shit. Yo. I ain't gonna fucking rap. That was hot. That was spitting hot fire.
I haven't rapped since high school, boys.
Huh?
I haven't rapped since high school, boys.
There were only 5 rappers, honestly, that I think they're better than you.
I know who they are. Dylon, and Dylon.
There you go.
All right.
Bear Country, they lose to the Acclaimed. Anything you want to add to this?
Yeah, let me take this one.
All right,
Go
please.
for it.
My notes are very short.
I'm going to play the music and then go ahead. Go.
I'll read them verbatim.
Okay.
Acclaimed versus Bear Country. It was a match. Acclaimed over, and somehow number 1 continues. Dark wins? I don't know emoji. So I'm assuming they won these matches on Dark because I don't recall them winning a lot of matches on TV that made them number 1 contenders. So that makes me a little upset with this ranking system because in theory, here's what I could do. I could be an AEW wrestler and I could go on Dark and beat enhancement guys and win 25 times, never winning once on television. And I could become number 1 contender for the TNT title or for the heavyweight title. Like, how does that work? How the fuck is Acclaimed? And I like Acclaimed, don't get me wrong. I think they got lots of potential. How are they number 1 contenders? And as somebody that watches both of the television shows, me not understand that. Like,
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to explain to you. You ready? Yo. Listen. Yo. Here we go. Listen. I don't understand how Max Caster can get to the top of the tag team division faster. Doesn't make any fucking sense. The fucking writing is terrible, immensely terrible, bad. I can't fucking rap. I don't know why I'm getting phone calls right now, so I'm gonna hang up and pass the mic. They fucked me up, goddamn. Who calls me at this time?
who calls Ray in the middle of a rap? Jesus Christ.
That was horrible.
Somebody watching live that tried to shut it down, I guess.
Yeah.
But that wasn't too bad, though. I wouldn't have called you to
I
shut it down.
literally had 8 bars left.
You were on good flow. But Vet, is that what happened? Have they just won a bunch of matches on Dart?
I'm pretty sure they have. And I was thinking about it at a certain point in the show, like AEW actually has themselves set up with their ranking system and their like 4 shows that they can really have tiers, like shoot tiers in the company, you know, for the people that aren't ready for prime time and they go to Dark or Dark Elevation, whichever one they think is higher. I don't know. You know, like in the tier list. And then when you're good enough, when it's like, man, we got too many, you know, we got some good people on Dark Elevation, let's elevate them over to Rampage. And then if you could do good on Rampage and stuff, now you can get, so you it's kind of like a brand split in that you kind of have to follow certain people, you know, on the shows that they're specifically on. Only people can go up or down at any time, depending on, you know, how Tony's feeling about it and what the rankings end up being. So you could actually do something interesting with that and get the organized toy shelf, like I was saying.
If you look at it like fighting, so if you're you know, a martial artist, MMA, boxer, whatever, and you're just beginning, you're going to get matched up according to your record. So if we're both making our pro debuts, Vet, odds are we're going to either have a 0-0 record, or maybe I'm 1-0, you're 0-0, something like that. So that's actually a good idea. They could take some of the newer guys and the underneath guys and have them fight amongst each other on Dark. You get to 5 wins. Tony Khan says, okay, we're going to give you a more seasoned competitor. Now we bring in somebody from the middle of the card. Sean Spears, for example. This babyface then beats Sean Spears. They're like, all right, good. You're moving along. Now we're really going to test you, and we're going to give you somebody a little stronger. This time we march out, say, fucking Eddie Kingston or John Moxley. And this person has a competitive match with Moxley or Kingston, whoever, loses. They do that handshake or sign of respect, whatever, and we've seen this person's progression. You know, there's different ways to take it, but I think that would be a cooler way to blend in the underneath guys with the stars. So it like means something now when this underneath guy fights an established talent.
Right. And the only other things I'll say is, number one, Max Caster's raps have gotten really watered down ever since he got bonked for, you know, like he is overcorrected or whatever the case may be. But they used to have so much more bite to them. But I still like, you know, what he's doing. And then, and speaking of what he's doing, oh my God, that top rope elbow was so clean looking, wasn't it? That was a sweet elbow.
Gotten a lot better. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Gotten a lot better.
So yeah, good job to those guys. They got their little win over Bear Country. But this match probably also should have been on one of the dark shows, I would guess, to pad their wins out. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting wrinkle to have a potential, you know. Is the Acclaimed only number one contenders now just because Jurassic Express won the titles? Yes. You know what I mean? Like, okay. So, anyway, that's all.
I wanted to let you gentlemen know that I have to get off soon because apparently my car insurance is about to expire.
Lovely.
And I have to call this call center to give them my social security card.
All right, let me take the lead on this.
Information.
He's Ray's deadpanning, so you didn't catch that, Susio. Yeah. He's got a scam call.
It's one of those scam
they're closed.
Calls.
They're closed. Yeah. I'm sure.
It's one of those kayfabe calls. But yeah, man. So yeah, they go over. You have Darby Allin who appears in the ring, takes Matt Caster out. Sting comes out. We have a whole melee here. So is this going to be Sting and Darby Allin versus Max Caster and his friend Bowens? Yes. You know, to see who moves on to face whoever for the tag team titles moving forward. That's probably where they're going to go with that. Matt Hardy is interviewed. He seems to be pissed off and angry because his leg hurts. And then we got Danny Garcia in the main event versus Sammy Guevara. But before that, we do have Andrade, not Andre the Giant, Andre El Idolo. And he rolls up during this promo to tell, you know, Matt Hardy, take it easy. Hey, you, mira, cógelo con take it easy, man. I don't know why you're so mad. You need to focus on business, okay? Listen, we need to work together. Tenemos que trabajar juntos. ¿Entiende? Sí. Wrestling, lucha. What do you think of this situation?
Very good, Andrade.
Well, thank you, sir.
I love Andrade, by the way.
Me too.
He's very attractive.
Also completely misused, and I will say this though. Anybody can say what they want and make fun of him or whatever, but his English has gotten a lot better. So if you think it's bad now, you should have heard it then. But he's definitely coming along with that. But yeah, this guy is a fucking total package. Almost nobody's seen what he can really do. You know what I mean?
Straight up Lex Luger, son.
Yes.
I want to kick another freestyle, but I'm not going to. I want
Big Ray, go ahead and break down this match.
All right, so we got Danny Garcia versus Sammy Guevara in a hard-hitting match. Number one, I have no idea who the fuck Danny Garcia is because I don't watch AEW much. But I'll tell you what, the kid was fucking good. I thought these two guys had a nice match. They were hitting bunch of fucking stiff shots, pile drivers going back and forth. It was really nice. I enjoyed this. Sammy Guevara gets to his feet towards the end. We have Sammy Guevara who, let me see, after he kicks out, a desperation enziguri. And then Chris Jericho rolls up, motherfuckers. Sammy Guevara, let's just fast forward. Sammy Guevara wins by pinfall. He hits the feast your eyes on this young man to retain the interim AEW TNT Championship. Now, here's a funny thing. Now, I hadn't watched AEW in about a week or two, right? So I'm like, wait a second. Why is he the interim champion? I had to go online to figure this out. I had to Google it to figure it out. I didn't know that Cody Rhodes was sick. I didn't know, what is it, COVID? Like, does anybody know what the hell's going on? Why is he interim champion?
They said that his family members have tested positive for COVID, so he's in self-isolation.
It doesn't even say that on the AEW website. It says that some medical reasons. It doesn't even expound upon what it is. I enjoyed this main event for the wrestling. And these are two guys of a similar size, two guys that are young, two guys that seem to be extremely hungry, going the fuck at it. Vet, what did you think of this match, brother? And what did you think of the fucking legendary David Crockett handing that title over to the champ? That was kind of cool for me.
Look at him. Look at him, Tony. Love it. I definitely think that this was a good main event for Dark Elevation or something, you know, because Silvio, let me ask you, brother, who on this entire card this night has been in more main events than Danny fucking Garcia? Not CM Punk, not maybe Chris Jericho. I'm running out of people here. I'm trying to think who really was. Not even Hangman Page.
Nope.
I mean, shit. Those big title matches start shows. You know what I mean? And then at the end, there's Danny Garcia to clean it up. You know, so it's like, I don't know. They did have a good match, though. I will say that.
That was good. It was fun.
But
fun to watch.
Yeah, I just feel like ever since Garcia 2.0 came in, they have had a spot that I'm sure that you look at a guy like, you know, Cole and the Elite, you know, guys, and they're like, that should be our kind of spot, because they're just jumping main eventers, coming in main eventing TVs. It just seems kind of weird, and it's no offense to those personal guys, because like I say, I have two different messages. I have for guys like Garcia and them, and the 2.0 guys, I'm like, get everything you can, get all the TV time you can, make all the money you can, do it, brothers, you know, go do it. And then to the company, I say, what are you doing? Why are these guys, you know, in the spot that they are? They just showed up, you know what I mean? So that's my only thing about that. If we're just looking at this match in a vacuum, yeah, it's good. You know, both these guys have a lot of upside. I do feel that Sammy Guevara is in kind of a no man's land in this sense. He is never, you can't get fully behind him as a babyface because he's just too douchey. But at the same time, it's hard for him to get any real heat as a heel because he does a lot of fancy things. So it's very, very tricky to be in that particular box. And he's a little young, I guess, to have figured out how to fully maximize whichever role that he's put in. So he's just kind of like floating in limbo. What do you think about that, Silvio? You kind of concur with that?
So it was very difficult for me to get into this match and even watch it. And it has nothing to do with the men involved in the match. You cannot, to answer the question that whoever just said in the chat, has Garcia won a match? He beat Eddie Kingston a couple weeks ago by
he's 1-2-0. 1-2-0.
He hooked Eddie's tights or something like that. But the point is, you cannot take a wrestler and insert them into a main event match and have them become a main eventer. It does not work like that. There must be a progression. He must have a series of accomplishments and be getting more over, popular, more heat, whatever it is. Then he can be seen in a light as a main eventer. Sammy can main event right now. If it would have been a stronger, like let's say that match was Andrade, that would have been perfect main event. But Garcia, who's doing a great job, he's got 4 years experience. His technique's good. His striking's good. Garcia's a young man who is not established, and he's kind of skinny. I hope he keeps building up his body and gets jacked and gets a good nutrition plan. And I think 5 years down the line, he's going to be awesome. Maybe 2 years down the line, he'll be hell on wheels. I don't know. But it's not a credible guy right now for you to put in your main event and expect people to really care about it. And again, nothing against him. One second, nothing against him or Sammy. From the wrestling standpoint, they did some good stuff. But I found myself as a viewer and a pundit. I don't want to be negative, and I don't want to use the word insulted. But like when I saw this is the main event, like we had just gotten the weird Bear Country match.
Word.
Before that, we got a cold match with Penta and Matt Hardy. And I'm saying, what? This is the main Danny Garcia against Sammy Guevara. Like, not so much Sammy, but Danny Garcia in the fucking main event. Who's he beat? How do you move up the rankings? How do you get this shot? So it was hard to pay attention to the match like I would have, because it shouldn't have been the main event. Main event should have been Punk and Wardlow. If you would have switched those and opened with Sammy and Danny in this hot match, fuck yeah. Crowd would have been up because Sammy won. Yeah, this is sweet. Then we end the show with Wardlow and Punk, give them stars in the main event, and then get the business across in the post-match angle. Go ahead, Ben.
Oh, I just wanted to add to what we were talking about earlier. Not only are you inserted into a main event, but every time you're inserted into a main event, you lose. So why would a company with ranking systems continue to put you in the main event slot? You should have never been there, and you certainly shouldn't stay there if everybody just beats you. So,
to their credit, they've recently been giving 2.0 some wins after I've complained for weeks. Like, you bring these guys in, you put them in the main event and beat them every time. So they've won their last few matches, at least. I know the tag team has, so hopefully they continue doing that. But it still doesn't change the perception as it is today.
No, we have a button for that.
I say dummy.
Dummy. Yeah.
I agree with you 1,000%. I think this definitely shouldn't have been a main event. This could have been a hot opener. I'm just reiterating what you said, Chris, because you're 100% on point with that. Also, I must be honest. I was falling asleep during that main event, and I turned it off, and I woke up this morning and watched the rest of the match. I was extremely disinterested, and I guess part of that is I have no idea who the hell Danny Garcia is. I don't watch the product enough, and if I'm watching this as a new person for the first time, or a wrestling fan watching AEW for the first time, I'm not going to be overly impressed. Now, seeing Wardlow and CM Punk in the main event, whoa, and then having this guy MJF, who's this guy with the fucking scarf around his neck, cutting hot fire promos and stuff? I don't get it. But
so let's go back to that, Ray.
Yes, sir.
You being a first-time viewer, you didn't know who he is. You see this match, you got kind of bored by it. Did you think that he was a threat to Sammy Guevara at all when you were watching, not knowing who he was? Did you think this guy was a threat to Sammy?
Here's the thing. Here's the problem with this. Obviously, I'm not a first-time viewer, so I know who Sammy Guevara is, and I know the storyline. I know he's holding the belt until Cody eventually just takes it back when he's better, right? Now, if I am a first-time watcher, I'm going to see two guys, like I said before, of similar size. It seems like they have very similar skill sets.
Yeah, but no, you know Sammy, but you didn't know Garcia. So just watching last night.
So now, like I said, they have two similar size, similar skill sets. I will say, oh, okay, maybe this is like a cruiserweight title that they're fighting for. Okay, yeah, the other guy might have a chance. But
so you watching last night thought that Garcia might win the title? Sure,
why not? They're both, like I said, well, not me, because I know who Sammy Guevara is.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Like at any point,
no.
Okay.
No. Knowing, I just said, like, knowing that Sammy Guevara is basically just holding that belt until Cody Rhodes gets better. I knew he wasn't going to lose. Plus, I didn't know who this kid was at all. So I'm like, there's no way.
Every viewer in America watching the show knew he wasn't going to win either.
If they stuck around that long, because it definitely seems that in recent weeks and months, AEW's been front loading the shows because they don't feel like people are going to stick around for the whole show for whatever reason. Maybe their demos are telling them that. So instead, they put a lot of the stuff up front so that you can just move on with your day after you've seen what you wanted to do. I say you've got plenty of talent that you don't have to do that. You don't have to front load everything. You can bookend it. You know, if you got some shit you want to throw in the middle, fine. But you got so many guys on there. Don't tell me you can't come up with another main event. You know, don't tell me you can't slot a guy in there that's not Daniel Garcia and then put Daniel Garcia in the middle, where he kind of belongs. So
can I throw something out there?
Yeah.
I think that if you would have put Matt Hardy in the main event, it would have been better.
Yeah,
because Matt Hardy is a name that you would have known. You would have. What if they took the belt off? That's possible, right? Matt Hardy would have been better in that place, I think.
And him and Sammy have previous beef.
Hello, remember they didn't they chase each other in a fucking football stadium with a car, or one of those carts. So they have past past problems, whatever the hell you want to call it. They had a past feud. Yep. Matt Hardy is believable. He's been a champion everywhere, and you have a big name in the main event.
And Vet, you're right. They do front load a lot of the shows, and I understand why they do it for ratings. But they also often do a good job of building a show and bookending with good stuff. I think my main problem with this week's episode is last week's show was so good. It was near perfect, just in the sense that of the Carnival of Wrestling, I got everything. I got that banger classic match with Bryan and Hangman that went 30 minutes. Then I got a really cool CM Punk and MJF segment. Got a few other good matches, and then we had a tag team main event match. Unfortunately, Phoenix broke his arm, but they had an exciting match, and we got a title change. It was an exciting, well-paid, that's about as good of a wrestling show as you're going to get in 2021, 22, what they did last week. Yes, not every week's going to be a home run, but I feel like in comparison, this week, just based on the matchups and just the overall quality of it, it is no comparison to last week's show. Like that felt like WrestleMania, and this week felt like In Your House too.
Well, I guess just just to wrap it up, not every show can be a home run, but you also don't pinch hit with the water boy.
I think we could leave on that one, no?
So thumbs in the middle this week, some good stuff, some not as good stuff, but come out swinging next week and kick some ass.
Well, here's the deal.
You know what the show needed, Ray?
What's that?
Hook!
Oh, I know what they needed.
What we have right now is a teachable moment.
Wrong show. They needed Hook. They should have sent Hook. That's what they should have done.
Wait,
Hook and Sammy.
Hook and Sammy. It's a little too early for that, though. I don't want neither one of those guys losing. Right at this juncture, but I'm being facetious. I was sad that my Hook shirt did not arrive in time for the show. I think the tracking on my package says it's supposed to arrive tomorrow, so I'm gonna miss the show by one day. But the next time I'm privileged enough to appear on Light the Fuse, I'll be sure to have my Send Hook shirt from AEW shop.
You can dial in next week with your Hook shirt.
Well, here's the deal. Remember. The Sexy Sucio one over here is not going to be here next week, so one of us is going to be on, and I vote for the guy with the Hook shirt.
I don't know if I'll be here next week. I should be. Right. I'm just not sure. I
still vote for tomorrow. I still vote for the guy with the Hook shirt.
I'll just pop in, show the shirt, and
that's it.
Drop out
and leave.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Much like Hook, all business, no talking.
That's it, bro.
All right, boys. What do we got going on? Let's wrap this thing up.
Please, yes.
Stuff to do, stuff to plug.
It's getting dark here already. Chris Silvio, please plug and promote your stuff.
All right, follow the bionic beast herself, the lovely Genocide, the future Mrs. Silvio. She's on social media at Genocide 000 on all of your social media platforms. Patreon.com/Van Muscles for exclusive workout videos, etc. We're your game planning over at Team Death Proof in Tampa Bay. Shit's popping off. We are getting there. I got a full class right now and 2 openings left for my online students. So if you'd like to work with my Team Death Proof online training system, send me a message on Facebook. My Facebook is Chris Silvio. Other than that, we're preparing for some huge NWA events. February 12th in Oak Grove, Kentucky. NWA is coming back with a vengeance. And then March 17th, I believe, gearing up for our next set of TV tapings and pay-per-view. It's going to be off the hook, pun intended.
No, Hook. And Vet, what do you got coming on, brother?
Well, I'm proud to say that I am all caught up on NWA as of yesterday. So I've been checking everything out, and you guys should too. Dude, just real quick, not to make this any longer, but just throwing it out there, dude. I am intrigued with the whole Scion character. I have ever since he showed up. I really like how they've handled it. I love how they dropped the breadcrumbs, like about just the identity and everything like that. It really makes me want to watch every single week. So, and they got stuff on with the NWA USA thing on YouTube now. You can check that out. Power's coming back to YouTube, so NWA's got some shit going on. Y'all should be checking it out.
You're going to see a fun new character probably emerging on the show in the next couple episodes, so keep tuning in.
I believe I will keep tuning. I give my $5 a month, so I'm with it. And for the man Silvio, congratulations on your engagement to the robot, and happy belated birthday. I believe you just turned 29 again. Yes. So we're on 29 season 9 now. So we're just keep trucking along. And you can find me at Opinion Haver anywhere. You know all the stuff. I'm on every single show that is on the platform. I'm gonna win all the Hammies and everything like that. You're sick of me. You don't need to hear any more of me. I just came here to hang out with my man Silvio and Ray.
And speaking about that, ladies and gentlemen,
bro,
if you want to hear my interview and my chat with the unbelievably cool Vince Russo, guys, head over to the Friday Locker Room. Tomorrow it will be live early in the morning. I'll put it up around 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You'll have it all day. You can listen to it whenever you want, but you have to go to channelattitude.com and subscribe. Remember, less than a cup of coffee, or a Starbucks cup of coffee a month, a whole damn month, please. Also, ladies and gentlemen, Noel did the run-in, so that was pretty cool. So we got some of Noel today, and we got some Big Vito here. If you want to hear the replay of this while you're working or driving, guys, again, channelattitude.com. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I always say this. I would do this for a living, but if I couldn't, I'd do it anyway. Why? Because I love talking wrestling. Congratulations to the Sexy Chris Silvio. Congratulations to Jenna. You guys are finally tying the knot. It's going to be you're going to make beautiful robot babies, maybe. Who knows? We're going to have to stay tuned here at channelattitude.com. In the words of the great Bill Apter,
we'll see you at the matches.
Peace out, guys. Thank you.